and welcome to another episode of the all-new TTown 411 Report. I'm your host, Darren McKinstry. We're broadcasting live from McKinstry Banquet Hall, located at 5480 Jug Factory Road here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. It's a special place for special people for all special occasions. I want to remind you we're broadcasting this program on several different outlets. Our community conversation, Sound Booth Radio, Sound Booth TV, Sound Booth YouTube. Mike, tell them how can they sound in on Sound Booth Radio and Sound Booth TV.
Good morning, Daryl. Check us out on Sound Booth Radio. Just go to iOS or your Google Play Store. Download the Live 365 app. Once you download that Live 365 app, then go to the search bar and type in Sound Booth Radio 106.1. That'll get you on with us on the radio side of Sound Booth Radio. To check us out on the video side, you can go to Facebook. Check us out on Sound Booth Radio. My personal page, Michael K. Wilson. Or go to YouTube. Type in Sound Booth Radio 106.1. That'll get you on with us on the video side of Sound Booth Radio.
Mike, and each and every week we bring information throughout our community here in Tuscaloosa, throughout the state, and throughout the country. We just want to thank everybody for joining the program each and every week. We appreciate you sharing this program to family and friends. And always, we like to thank our very own Miss Veronica Taylor, who provides us with the COVID update. As of June 29, 2022, which was on yesterday, the Alabama Department Public Health categories overall levels of COVID-19 community transmission into low, moderate, substantial, and high. Currently, Tuscaloosa County is listed as high. Yes, yes, yes. As of 3 p.m. on yesterday, 20 inpatients with the DCA system are positive for COVID-19. 5 or fewer inpatients positive for COVID-19 are being treated in the ICU, and 5 or fewer inpatients positive for COVID-19 are on ventilators. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance made of fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. As always, I also want to add in copyright disclaimer. The opinion expressed in this presentation are my personal opinions and must not be construed as representing the opinion of any institution with which I am or have been affiliated in my professional life. So I just want to make sure everyone knows that. I want to say hello to all the people that's chiming in. Ms. Val Scarborough, thank you for chiming in with us all the way in North Carolina. My good friend Daniel Van Horn, Deacon Daniel Van Horn here here in Tuscaloosa. We want to thank you for chiming in. And we just want to go ahead and do our quick prayer as we always do here in Tuscaloosa on the 411 Hour Community Conversation. If you would, just bow your head for just a moment and join in there in this prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. We want to thank you for all the things you do, all the things you've done and will do in the future, Heavenly Father. I want to thank you for giving us breath today and letting us see another day that we've never seen before. Heavenly Father, right now we want to say a special prayer for Officer Johnson and his family right now that was killed in the line of duty here in Bibb County. Heavenly Father, we're praying for all our law enforcement officers. We're praying for all our firemen and all the people that serve in our country and protecting us from the Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, Coast Guard, whatever you might be serving, Heavenly Father. We're asking that you continue to watch over them. We're praying, saying a special prayer for them also. We're praying for our government, our president, our governors, our city council and commissioners. We're praying for them that they make the right decision. We're going to pray for even for our Supreme Court judges, Heavenly Father. We're praying for them. We're praying for them that they will make the right decisions in the near future, Heavenly Father. Right now, I'm praying for everyone that's here on the program, and I'm praying for those that are in the nursing homes, all the doctors and nurses, and all the essential workers. Heavenly Father, I want to say a special prayer for all those that are sick. We're saying a prayer for the bereavement families right now, the Davis family. We want to say a special prayer for them. George Banks, we want to say a special prayer for him and his family. I want to say a special prayer for Angela White and her family as they go through the loss of their loved one. Heavenly Father, we know you're in charge. We know we can't do anything without you. We just want to give you all the praise and all the glory In your Son Jesus Christ's name we pray, amen.
Man.
Amen, y'all. We want to thank y'all for joining this program. I tell you, let me put the number up. Look like might have some conversation tonight. We do have a few things that's going on here in Tuscaloosa. Tomorrow, there will be a rhythm and boom fireworks show down at H&H Farm. Just start at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Gates open at 6, if I'm mistaken. It is kid friendly. There'll be entertainment, live entertainment, along with a fireworks show immediately afterwards. So if you're not doing anything, come on down to H&H Farm and be a part of that particular program. Something else going on this week. Fireworks show at the Tuscaloosa Amphitheater, I think, is going on this coming weekend also. So we want to make sure we get that put in too. On next week, we will have guests. A young lady that's going to be a part of the program. We'll talk about that on Tuesday and Friday of next week. My Black is Blue. It's a stage play that's written here locally. That's coming to Tuscaloosa Saturday, August the 20th here in Tuscaloosa. And we'll be talking about that with um, the showcase and the promoter of that program. I want to make sure we let people know about that. Mike, and you sent me a thing that's going on also. What's going on? Gospel Explosion.
Yeah, that's actually gonna be September.
Okay.
Um, yeah, they get you that flyer again.
Yes, yes.
But actually, it's on mine. Should that is when prepared for that one there.
Okay.
I will make sure you get that flyer. And
We'll sure, no problem. Also, want to say hello to my good friend Paula Cadell, Linda Owens, all of you all just chiming in. I also want to report, and I know it ain't a good time to report it, but Aliceville Police Department is hiring. They're hiring. They're recruiting. They're recruiting new law enforcement officers. You can apply on their website www.cityofaliceville.com. Go to their website and you can apply for a job for their police department. We got Veronica on the phone with us. Veronica, if you want to join in right now, I know it's a terrible time to be talking about being a part of the law enforcement family. We having so many law enforcement officers that are being killed. Just what it had been 3 weeks ago. Our good friend Kenneth Kroom, who was killed in Mississippi. So it's a sad time. Law enforcement, but we still must have police. Linda Owens said the COVID mask mandate back in place at DCH at all three facilities goes into effect at midnight. What's Mike? I mean, what do y'all think? And Veronica, maybe you can tell us what has
Yeah,
increased.
they gone back to is to be strictly enforced, and then you can still I think have two if you're COVID negative, but yeah, they have it on the website. A whole they're going back to the policy, and they revisit the policy again.
What's bringing this increase? I mean, we noticed it spiked up just recently in the last couple of weeks, and this the first time I think you on your report that it showed that people were back on ventilators. I had a couple coworkers that was dealing with through COVID, and I'm hearing it getting more and more intense. As far as people just sick. I'm hearing the ones I talked to, they out 6, 7 days of illness going through it, and like I said, it kind of woke me up back here when my daughter called it a couple weeks ago. What do y'all think going on?
Well, I don't know. I know last week it was 24, so hopefully it continues to go down. It was 20. But they're seeing something because they didn't have this last week. Everything that I saw, unless I just didn't expand it and see it, but it's across the United States, and I just think it's that people. You don't want to say people don't care, but we've seen the attitudes of some people,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and it's all people. It's no, you can't say in particular race, creed, color, or sex. It's all people. They're tired of wearing masks, and they look at us like we're weird when we do. But that is the only explanation to me because they haven't said anything about a big hello.
Oh,
They haven't said anything about a massive new outbreak. The strand that came was a variant of Omicron, but no one said anything else about a different one. You know, they had the cold thing with the COVID and the flu, but I just think it's a matter of people still coming, not protecting themselves. They just want to walk around, and everybody is a professional about how it's passed.
uh,
But the numbers teach us more than anything.
right.
The protocols and the proper procedures teach us more than anything. But everybody wants to be a professional on how it's passed, and they look at you all weird and strange when you wear something. I'm looking at them like, how can y'all not? Now I have gone to a couple events like over the past, I think Juneteenth. I had my mask and I would let it down if it was enough distance. But now I'm back to just put my mask on because people don't care about themselves. So how they don't care about the next person?
That's true. That's
And I
true.
don't know if it's just that they don't care about themselves, but that's what they act like.
You know, my brother
Yeah,
have his on
I think you're right
sometime.
on, but when it comes down to the fact that everybody just started felt tired of wearing the mask, uh, like now I go out and I see very few people wearing masks, very few. I have mine on, and sometimes I feel like odd man out because I have mine on. Most places I go, but of course I'm a high risk person, so I do generally keep mine on. Uh, Unless I'm outside away from a bunch of people. That's the only time I usually pull mine down. But I like you go into the stores now, you see hardly no one wearing masks. They crowding you again. All that stuff is like everybody is trying to get back to normal, if you would.
I
Uh,
think some people still too have that idea of herd immunity. I think that some people have really just attached to that, latched on to that, even if they don't say so. I think they think, well, the way they say it instead of saying herd immunity, I think they just say, well, everybody had it or they got it by now, and they just go. But my thing is, to me, safety is always when you're young and wild, something like that. But with this being a pandemic the way that it was, and with what happened, and everything that everybody, all these policies and procedures and stuff like that, everybody knows. Everybody, like we're saying, you to little 5-year-olds keep their mask on. Someone went in the house without their mask, mommy, but my mask is. But you got these grown people who don't want to be told anything.
Um, Paula Cadell said graduation. I'm curious that you're saying people called it during the graduation or during just large events itself, probably.
I
Um,
just think people not knowing it. I don't really even think it's like graduation time. Remember when they said y'all that it was gonna get hot. Like it came into 19, right? Okay, got it. Heavy in 2020. Remember they said it was gonna get hot and it was gonna clear up.
that it was going.
2020 got hot. 2021 it got hot. And the trend of it didn't really seem to matter with the weather. It just seemed to matter when I mean it may initially, but it seems to what matters most is how people protect themselves. So yeah, there have been graduations and stuff, but remember y'all when there was a time where there were still concerts and stuff, and you know, but people took precaution and then the numbers went down.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's not just the graduations, I think it's everything. And people saying you don't have to wear this if you have a vaccine. And then they stopping people from showing proof. Like on the airlines now. I don't think you have to show proof.
No.
And they made some people mad because they were like, y'all see, we had to get this. And what do they say? You can't tell me what to put in my body. So we still on this body thing with me. You can't tell me what to put in my body. But they're the same ones telling people what they can't carry in their body or can't get out of their bodies. So people just need to Be mindful of the public. I am my brother's keeper. And if I'm not my brother's keeper, at least honor thy neighbor. And these people don't care. They say, I watch people on Facebook in each other's face. I watch people on other social media platforms in each other's face. It's day to day, like Mike said, when you go out, you're the odd person out. And I'm like, none of them are professionals. No, and a lot of them are professionals. I think they got exhausted because a lot of them had to work with it. And so when it got a little bit better, everybody's just put loose.
Yeah, I actually had a good friend of mine, an elderly gentleman, who went to a doctor. He had his mask on, and the doctor asked him what he had his mask on for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And like seriously, okay, you're a medical professional, and I understand if you know you say, yeah, I had my shots, I had my booster, but I'm still wearing this mask,
Right.
and you know until it's completely gone. And
Well, yeah, Mike. And one I heard one say, well, it's no reason to wear the mask. Medical professional, local, no reason to wear the mask because it just depends on where you're going. If you're outside now, okay, we know all that. But if you're not in a place where the numbers are high, I mean, everything starts somewhere. And when it comes to something like this, everything regroups and jumps back. It's a jump start somewhere. So you're telling people you're a doctor that there's nobody, there's no numbers. When DCH got down to basically zero, they were still saying five or under. Because I guess they didn't want to just say zero.
Zero. Right.
If they ever got to zero at some point, we never know because of how it is. But some doctors were saying, oh well, this in Tuscaloosa it doesn't this. Well, what are they saying about Tuscaloosa today on the DCH website or Alabama Department of Health? Tuscaloosa is ranked high. They're in the high category. And I think it's because a lot of these attitudes. Everybody always has a reason, rhyme, excuse. Reason or rhyme or excuse instead of just being protected.
Comments.
Just put it on when you're around other people. You don't have to wear it all the time.
We got comments. Let's see. Linda said they told us in a meeting today all area of the hospital must wear a mask. I can leave mine off in my office until someone
And you
mandates.
about to say except the office.
My,
Yep.
my hubby lives in his mask. I have mine on too, except for 6 feet distance. Then I pull it back up. Health department sent out a notice. Also, I'm high risk also. So yes, uh, yes. Some policy. Well, Fucci, he did catch it. They reported he caught it. Want to say hello to Tina Sanders, Miss Betty Mills. How you doing? Thanks for chiming in with us also. Join the conversation. Dial the number 31205-310-6067 or 205-826-7661. That'll get you in contact with either one of us. And you can join the conversation. If you got a conversation you want to talk about, we can talk about whatever, COVID is just one of the topics we're talking about right now. Also, we lost another law enforcement officer right here in Alabama, and we want to say, a special prayer for him, his the deputy in Bibb County, Alabama. There again,
Yeah.
what, 20 miles from here, 25 miles from Tuscaloosa, 40 miles. I'm
Yeah.
not really sure.
You're probably about 25. It's not even good. It's not 30 minutes.
There again, and I guess I'm about to start. Let me see. Almost
So as
researching.
far as the C-19, I think it's just a combination of all of the stuff that people wouldn't do in the beginning. All of the stuff some people never would do. I think it's just a combination. And then when the numbers got low, if nobody will, well, I won't say nobody, but some of these main people who are against this and wearing this and doing this, they'll never admit that when we did all those things, that's when it started to decrease. When all those things were in place, that's when the numbers went down. They'll never admit that, but I mean, that's just a fact.
So, according to this stats, as of right now, this is number 7 in the state of Alabama that's died. Number 7. And
With this year, is it this year
yeah,
on there
yeah,
or?
yes,
yeah,
20,
this year.
2022 is number 7, but it might be number 8 because they hadn't updated. They didn't update it because we had a death of in Chamber County Sheriff Office from an automobile crash on June the 20th. Deputy Sheriff Jamar Marcolin Abel. He died. Um, Police Officer Darrell Wayne Fortner in Vestavia Hills. He died on April the 6th. Sergeant Christopher Michael Vaughn. He died April the 1st with Cedar Bluff Police Department here in Alabama. Corporal Keith Morgan of Cherokee County Sheriff Office. He died February 16th. He died from COVID. Uh, Deputy Sheriff Steve Bobbitt. He died from COVID also. He was DeKalb County Sheriff Office. Lieutenant Kevin Pounders. He was a victim also of COVID. And Investigator Stephen Ray Finley. He was a victim of COVID also. Those are officers that died. Let's see, Hemming died from gunfire. We had 29 that from the state, well, from the this year alone throughout the country. There's been 29 law enforcement officers that's been killed in a line of gunfire. And as I go through the line of officers, it shows Kenneth is one of those. Let's see, Kenneth was June 9th and June 12th, another young African American deputy from Wacomoco County Sheriff Office in Maryland. He died from gunfire. Joseph Anthony Santana of El Monte Police Department in California. Corporal Michael Domingo Paredes. He died June 14th. Deputy Sheriff Austin Derrick Aldridge from Spartanburg County Sheriff Office in South Carolina. And then Detention Officer Jeremiah James Story. He was in Perry County Sheriff Office in Arkansas. And let's see, Sergeant Richard Lopez of Yavapai County Sheriff Office in Arizona. And so the officer on the deputy on yesterday, I don't know if it would be today or would probably fall in line, make it number 30 that died. And it's kind of interesting. Out of these 29 that died from gunfire, I want to say a majority of them work for sheriff departments.
Uh, you think it because that's more rural areas in their states, maybe. What?
Most sheriff departments are way undermanned, and a lot of sheriff officers are like we can just take Tuscaloosa County itself. You might have on a given night probably 12 deputies or less working. 12 deputies or not, and that's covering the whole county of Tuscaloosa. Now, those you don't know, Tuscaloosa County is a very large county. Let's take for example McCalla. Portions of McCalla is Tuscaloosa County.
Mm-hmm. Lakeview area.
Yes. Now if you go to Northport side up to the Fayette County line, you still got portions of that area is still Tuscaloosa County. And if you go towards Greene County, of course, we know if you go to Knoxville exit, portions of that is Tuscaloosa County. And of course, when you go down to Malva area, you know the Hill County line there, here on 69. So just imagine going from Moundville to Fayette County, or from Lakeview, McCalla area to Utah. Those are what 50-mile spans each.
So Tuscaloosa County is far more bigger than Jefferson County.
Yes.
And it's so funny because Jefferson County is so built up. It's so, the county areas are the county areas, but the city of Birmingham, which is just one city. But if you're looking at Jefferson County, Tuscaloosa is far more bigger than Jefferson County.
Yes. Yeah.
And I just be feeling like we're far so behind.
That
I
too.
think what did Curtis say? He said we were 20 years behind in Atlanta and yeah, something to that aspect.
Yeah.
Like there's he said 20 years Birmingham 20 years behind at Atlanta and Tuscaloosa like 40 years behind Atlanta. So 20 years behind Birmingham. So and of course, I have said it a couple times, I feel like the powers that be here want it to be that way. They don't want us to grow and become any type of metropolis. We don't even have
they won't even allow another functioning large
exactly.
scale hospital. If that even looks like it's about to happen. Those that be who make sure that it doesn't. And
Right.
then the first thing you do when they do get some type of some certain types of facilities, they buy it up. Next thing you know, it's up under the DCH. And I'm like, y'all should want the competition. We serve how many counties? At least seven. And look at the size of Tuscaloosa County itself, and then we serve seven. We serve Greene County, Hill County, Beard County. What? What Reform and Gordo? All those. What's that? Pickens County.
Pickens County.
Um, all the way up Tuscaloosa. That Lakeview area it seems like it's another whole county, but it is part of Tuscaloosa, so I can't say that, but it's Greene, Hale, Pickens, Tuscaloosa, sometimes Marengo.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so at least five, and I'm thinking it's like seven. And the only major hospital serving those places is DCH. And then I guess you got people in Democracy who could go to Meridian. But how built up is Meridian? Meridian is kind of, to me, kind of like a Tuscaloosa. And Tuscaloosa could really be far more advanced than Meridian, honestly.
Yeah.
But to me, they're basically kind of the same.
I want to say hello, Miss Anita Foster. How are you doing? Thank you for joining in. Sumter County checking in.
There's
Marcus,
another one, Sumter County. Didn't say that one.
yeah. Marcus McKinney. Hey, all of y'all, chime in, call in, join the conversation. What's going on? What y'all got going on for the 4th of July? Activities. Like I said, there's a bunch of activities going on. Amphitheater got something going on. But there again, we want to advise people to get those masks back on when you're among large crowds and start being very careful. Out here now, the COVID-19 has spiked up. What about boosters, Veronica? Is there a number 4 booster or number 3 booster? Which one is it?
We're still on the three, and I think that has a lot to do with a lot of it. When you look at the statistics and you look at, like when I look at the New York Times and they look at Alabama and you look at the ADH, Alabama Department of Health, a lot of people only got their first one.
Yeah, I
And
have
especially
heard a
certain
lot of
age
people
groups,
say,
some of them on like half, like maybe half. Sometimes you get certain age groups, only 40% got their second one.
Mm.
And then there have so many who don't have their third one.
I
And then, of
heard
course,
so many
those who
people
didn't
say
get one at all.
so many people said that they didn't want it. They was like, I ain't gonna take another one. Hey, look, you got me to take 3 shots this year. I ain't taking another shot. And
And then
like,
and I really can't say much to those people because they did take three, but you got some people around here who took one and got, I guess, I don't know, a little frightened and didn't take the second one. And you still have people who didn't take it at all.
That's
And so
true.
you taking three and you're doing your part, that becomes angry.
that is true.
Well, Val said Tuscaloosa will never be able to compete with other metropolitan areas until they expand a lot of areas. I agree there needs to be another medical facility there or a trauma urgent care. Betty Hawkins say, I'm working 12 hours for the 4th of July. This is my year to work, but off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Okay, well, great, great, great.
But you know, Daryl, that's just one aspect of everything, but that's a big aspect of another hospital. It, if anything, only thing it would do is it will actually make DCH have to pay um, their employees a more competitive wage. because now they have people, they have competition. Now that could backfire too. Both hospitals could decide they don't want to pay nobody nothing, but the service of care I think would change a lot in both facilities because there is a competition level there. Oh, like Veronica said, Tuscaloosa County is so much bigger than Jefferson County. How many hospitals?
You got about 5 major hospitals.
Exactly.
About 5 major, and then of course if you have to go for certain things, UAB, because UAB is a research hospital. UAB is just a mega hospital basically for Alabama. You got people come from Huntsville to go to UAB. If they don't come to UAB, they'll go to Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt.
So I mean, there's like and Grandview is one of the newest ones. And Grandview is a thriving. A lot of people prefer to go to Grandview. It's one of the newest.
And Grandview is building an annex in the Lakeview area.
So it can be done. It can be done. And those people, they're happy. Everybody getting air, so you might have somebody at Grandview making $1 or $2 more than somebody at UAB. You might have somebody at St. Vincent's making a couple of dollars more. But everybody, it works.
Anita Foster said, include Sumter County because Livingston, Panola, Gainesville, Geiger come to Tuscaloosa, Forkland, Demopolis, Sweetwater, the Fowler, and Butler, all Choctaw County, come to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, we did. We said Suffolk County was the other one. It was what? Green Hill, Bibb, Pickens, Sumter, Marengo. It's another one. It's 7. It's still, I can't think of that 7th one, but it's about 7. And DCH is the major hospital. But you have Birmingham, much smaller. Now population is much bigger. It's much more built up. So, but still, the population of the people we serve from all those other counties, there could be 2 other hospitals. At least one, since we can't even get the extra one.
Well, especially with them close.
When you say something about an extra hospital, the first thing they will mention to you is they got a hospital in Northport. Although it's a DCH. Now it used to be called West Alabama back in the day. And DCH, I don't know how they wound up merging and became DCH, and DCH became DCH Health System. It was first Rural City Hospital, and then it became DCH Health System. And they incorporated encompassed Fayette Hospital down there, which I think they closed Fayette down, but I'm not sure.
I think they did.
But all of that was DCH, the health system, because it was just all 3 of them were annexed off the main hospital. So once again, with DCH servicing so many different counties, we can have at least one other major hospital here in the city limits of Tuscaloosa, or even in the county.
In the county, they didn't even put it in the county. It was like some of the off of the other one.
I'm gonna tell you like this. I feel that if you put another hospital, let's say you put it down 69 way, just down that way somewhere. I think these states would lose Hale County, Greene County, and probably more than half of Tuscaloosa.
I can agree.
Well, some people gonna go to because of the new hospital. They're gonna go there just because it's new. And if they give you any kind of better service, anything is better. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna cause DCH to have to step up.
But Mike, with everything they say, just like I said, on the core comment, it's 33,000 students here at any given time. It doesn't have to be a year round. It's just the fact that it's at any given time. And then sometimes a year, it's their families are here. So you can probably have a whole extra almost 50, 70-some thousand people in Tuscaloosa at any given time, in addition to those other counties in the city and county of Tuscaloosa.
Well, I guess
football town.
I guess
that itself I mean, come on.
I guess the next question would be staffing.
Well, truthfully, a lot of the
I
staff
think it will work.
from all the other counties.
Because exactly, I was just about to say, everybody over at that nursing home, when I first got into nursing, it was more people over there at this nursing home come from Reform than I don't know what. Reform, Greensboro, Utah, but especially Greensboro and Reform, Higgins County, they would either, some of them would go over into Columbus, but most of them would come straight over to the nursing homes and over to DCH. And then you have those who work at the VA, Bryce Partlow, excuse me, and when Partlow was open and places like that.
That's true. When I worked at DCH many years ago, that was the thing. I met more people from Greene and Hale County in the department that I worked than anything. Like almost everybody from down there, wasn't nobody from Tuscaloosa. They was always from another county, and they drove up here every day. And I'm like, really?
Build another medical facility. People will come here, comparative wages, and fill up some of these apartments that's empty. That were built for nothing.
Don't get on the apartments, believe me. Some way we're going to have to figure out something to do with them because there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of them.
And they still building.
Well, the one thing I can say, the apartments kind of help Stillman out, for as you know, uh, living quarters for Stillman and Shelton. I think the apartment. Well, I'm gonna say it used to be called the Korean. I forgot what the new name is now. But I think that was a huge. It's a huge complex, and I think it helps with recruiting for Shelton and Stedman Go for location of students to live. It used to be kind of, of course, they built them for student housing for the university, but now that they expanded the concept of Stillman College and Shelton can live at those particular apartment complexes. I think it helped for us providing locations because I think the dorms, well, of course, Shelton didn't have dorms, but Stillman dorms. So I think needed upgrading and things of that nature.
Like a lot of things on Stillman campus. It's true. I think that what you're saying is true. But actually, all of them apartments that were always around the Grand, um, where was the links and all that. I think all that stuff was built initially for all those students for like Shelton and they were hoping UA and Stillman college kids was gonna go there. But as the football team became more and more successful, they started trying to put more and more stuff closer to the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And you have more and more condos in these what they call 4-in-1s or 5-in-1 apartment complexes, where you got the main area, the main kitchen area, main living area, and like 5 rooms that everybody share. That you might not even know who these people are, and they the same price as some 1-bedroom apartments. So, like, I don't know if that's going to be feasible for most of these students, like a Shelton State or a Stillman College student to get into any of those apartments. So, I don't think that they thought that stuff out. They were only thinking about the University of Alabama students.
At the time, yeah. Let's see. Anita Foster was speaking about Meridian, Mississippi has Riley Hospital, Jeff Anderson, Rush Hospital, and Regency. Mental hospitals are Laurelwood in East Mississippi State, and one more private hospital. York, Alabama, formerly Hill Hospital, has an awesome drug treatment facility. Yes, a detox center, male and female, and it stays nearly filled to capacity. People from all over come to that drug facility tucked away in York, Alabama. Yes, that is a great detox center. I think that's what some of them use it for. Short term drug treatment facility there in York. Um, I think it's a great idea having a facility of that nature in those areas because I think it gets the person away from the city life or wherever they're coming from to try to get some help. So it is a wonderful facility, Miss Foster. I'm very familiar with it down there in York, Alabama. Anita also said trauma center is definitely needed here in Tuscaloosa area. See, Betty Hopkins and Anita Foster and Veronica, y'all are our hospital specialists from the mental health side to the VA to the just healthcare itself. So y'all need to get on the line 205-310-6067 and 826-7661. What was it? I seen something
And with them
related.
closing, Tuscaloosa basically still is the hub of mental health.
Mm-hmm. What's I
Like
seen
you said,
something about
substance
VA
abuse.
hospital.
We need more of those.
What
That's why that one in your state still the capacity. I know girls who came up here to go to nursing school. They was like, I ain't gonna even try to work down there because it's full capacity. And small places like that, people tend to stay on their jobs.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So one or two more of those. It's like we need more, and then they close Parkland, and we have Bryce Taylor Harden. Well, that's forensics, so that's you're either going to trial, been to trial, been convicted, or waiting to be convicted, or you've been sent back from prison to get you stabilized on your medications. There are facilities. This town just needs to. If you just go, I don't know how often y'all go on 280, and it's just a portion, just one main road. I want to say have a main road in Birmingham. 3 lanes and turning lanes on each side. 280 stays packed, and it's a portion of Tuscaloosa. Tuscaloosa has so much that needs to be built up. It's so much rural area. It's so much basically what you call country. You knock down, look at when they knock down those trees right here on McFarland. Look what's there now. Y'all remember when it used to be a time you went down McFarland, once you got out of Harco area in Chick-fil-A, it was nothing but trees. All the way down to the old gas station they won't get rid of or tear down or whatever. Mm-hmm. It was nothing but trees. Then remember when you across the street, across 15th Street, and it was pretty much nothing but trees to Krispy Kreme. So it can be done. It's just that what is not. They don't just take a consensus of the citizens. They just do what they want to do. When they wanted to build up and get Legacy Park, Legacy whatever that is, right there next to Krispy Kreme and how they now. Krispy Kreme. I remember when my mom lived on 13th Street, and me and my sister would walk down to Krispy Kreme together at night because it was just not. It was a Shell gas station, hardwoods, and then Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme. Now look at how much is there. Yeah, so what is the reason? Why not build? Why not more medical facilities, reaching more medical needs, whether it be physical, mental, or whatever. Like I said, right there where Chick-fil-A was, now you got all of that whole big restaurants, shopping centers, apartments, Planet Fitness. You got all that stuff, and then used to be all woods, all trees. So somebody somewhere has the capacity. They know. They have the mindsets. They know how to build. Why not build up Tuscaloosa County? It's like everything in Tuscaloosa County is basically relying on everything in the city of McFarland 15, Greensboro, Skyland 69, and then
You absolutely right. Veronica, you remember when right in front of where the train tracks at going to DCA, that those used to be like little well, I hate to say it, but shotgun houses.
The houses.
They took those houses.
Yep.
They moved them
Because
out.
the biggest one on that street corner was my mama's house, and she was right next door to Little People's. And it was an old house, but that was the probably the biggest house. The rest of them were those duplex. They were like duplex houses. There was a set of apartments.
Right.
Yep.
Like a little small set of apartments.
Right there
When
on
you make the
13th.
turn.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with that.
So, and look at what's there now.
I was wondering, like, when I remember, because I was working at DCH at the time, when they said, we finna build some condos here. And I was like, you know what, ain't worry, y'all finna put no condos. They sure put them in there.
And the only thing that makes it look familiar to me is the fact that they're little peoples. Their little peoples is like it's like a seventh wonder of Tuscaloosa. It has not moved.
Right.
Yeah. They may paint it a different color or something like that, but their little peoples is there.
It's always there. Kind of like moon wings in Alberta City. Can't blow it away with storm. Can't do nothing to it.
You know, they talking about the gentleman that killed the police officer on yesterday. The sheriff, the deputy, let me call him by his name, Deputy Johnson, on yesterday. Ziegler say he has been charged with at least 46 crimes.
They said 60 yesterday.
Well, on here
they said 60. And he pleaded guilty to like 20 of them.
Well, according to this, he said he's been charged with 46 crimes over the past 9 years, and had been approved for a work release in 2019 while he was serving a 10-year sentence for theft charges from 2018. This inmate was not appropriate for work release then, and he was not supposed to be out of prison now.
Well, they say he broke out of work release. They say he escaped.
The accountability, y'all. I tell you, that's. Linda said, "Well, why are you walking around free?" Oh man. Val said, "Moonwings up for sale." Okay.
Like who want? How much is it? $35?
Oh,
The cost of a room.
Oh, okay. She was telling me about need to say, speaking about the VA, the nurses and nurse practitioners are complaining and on strike for better working conditions. But veterans are steadily complaining that the care the workers give is poor, 1 star. And I hear the veterans complaining that we as veterans need to protest about the VA hospital nurses and nurse practitioners that are complaining.
Wait a minute. They all strike. But the veterans are complaining about the care that they receive, and they need to be protesting the ones that's on strike.
Yep.
Oh my God.
That's gonna be something. That's gonna be something.
I can see it right now. They're gonna be ready to close this Tuscaloosa branch of the VA down there.
Ooh, I hope not. It's not like they got what's the nearest one? Columbus has a Air Force base. We got Maxwell down in Montgomery.
Maxwell in Montgomery.
Well, I guess there are VAs though. Because there's a VA in Birmingham, so they do have more VAs. Yeah, so they do have. I'm thinking bases. They do have more VAs. Yeah.
But can you imagine how packed out the one in Birmingham is?
You know, but we don't want to lose job base. One thing I resent is when they close Bryce and try to lower the numbers at Partlow, because that cut out a lot of jobs. One of my major first jobs was at a mental health facility, and so
a lot of people when they close down Partlow, that messed a lot of people up, and because they close down Partlow, they close down Esty Island.
Mm-hmm. A lot of those people at Partlow had to transfer to Bryce. Or one of my friends just retired. She was at Partlow first, and she had to finish her career at Bryce. So those people miss those jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I see Anita says, "Yep, thank God I'm retired military and had trachea." Ooh, Anita, what you talking about? My children had that trachea. And that's not that's what I don't understand. How some of the vets that get out, they have access to the VA and things, but it just depends on your area, I guess. Some of them seem like they lack of certain resources. I know sometimes they have to, things are a process and things are prolonged. But once you get that TRICARE, their TRICARE is that's good insurance.
Yeah,
Now,
they
depending on if
usually
you
cover
have
everybody.
TRICARE, well, you got co-pays and cost shares and stuff. But depending on if you have the TRICARE Prime and the TRICARE Standard, so I think the TRICARE Prime, I may be Anita might remember because my kids had that and it was that you have to have a referral to a specialist. The other one you don't have to have a referral to a specialist. But those are great benefits.
We got a caller on the
And
line.
I just don't understand like how when I see vets that are kind of, you know, struggling, I don't understand that. And then I'm just saying locally, I'm just saying just in general.
Go ahead, caller.
What's up, Daryl? This is Kevin.
Hey,
Man,
what's up, show?
I was listening to your show. Man, you back there eating good. I hear you popping the drinks and everything.
Man, I had to get me something to eat.
but on what you were saying, I had firsthand on some of my friends that are vets. A lot of them struggle because the system got them going through 1,000 loopholes to even get a check.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. It's a process. And then if you go and get your disability, you get more for a profile than you do for maybe some injury or something.
Yeah,
So I understand.
They're gonna make sure that the injury that you going to the VA for is service related. Because if it's not service related, they don't want to cover it.
I
I got
mean,
a friend
we
that
know, but when you think about it, Mike, what if it's not service related? You are a vet. You have served this country.
I understand that, but I mean that's what I'm saying. Like I have a friend who actually works in the VA that does like insurance claims, and she constantly have to call and tell them like, well, it's not service related, so you'll be responsible for this, and there's a lot
They
of
put them through a lot.
yeah, and they'll be like, well, I forget about it. I ain't gonna worry about it then, and that's their health.
But things it should not be so complicated. It shouldn't be
It
made
should
so
it shouldn't
complicated.
be. It should not be.
Right, that's my whole thing. It shouldn't be so complicated.
Kevin, how's it been going, man? Your mentoring program still going up and running?
Man, we up and rolling, man. And actually, we're just in developmental stage for the summer, getting ready for next year, locking everything down, getting the calendar right, decent and in order. So God can be his hand in part of our program because we just want to be lined up right now. And I really called because I'm telling you, I have a really heavy heart because I've been listening to what's going on. I haven't, I know y'all saying it's an open conversation, and I know we talking about we haven't met the politics that are going on in Tuscaloosa right now is very dangerous right now because you have people using offices or positions and are trying to destroy people's character. That's not who they are,
Hmm.
and it's real dangerous because I'm telling you, when you get doing stuff like that, it opens up the doors, Pandora's box opens, because then anybody can get up and say anything about my girl or even me, and people just running with it, flocking with it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's dangerous when people get up and try to attack one person and they don't know what's going on. I just think, us as black men and black women and black people need to we just have to do homework before we just straight jump on people. Especially people doesn't look like us. You know what I mean? Because everybody doesn't look like us again. Everybody that look like us ain't with us.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I just got a real heavy heart on it because I know it's so new right now. I know a lot of people are not really paying attention to it yet. But maybe it's hitting my table, and I feel like that we need to go back to judging people for what they do and what they are, not what we think they are or what someone says are in the political. Because my thing is, girl, I know you in the streets. You know, I see you out there doing. Where's all these other people that say they want to change Tuscaloosa? They want to change Norfolk. They want where you at? I don't see you until something happens, and then you're doing a stop the violence. You're doing a violence campaign. You're doing all stuff, but you know where it needs to be. We don't see you put in work. You only come out your office to do a bit because it's on TV or it's a camera involved. You get what I'm saying? I just think we come together there. I don't know, you could spearhead. You know me, I don't like my name getting on that because I don't want, I don't want to be recognized. I just want us to help the kids.
You know what? It seems like when you say that, I think Daryl, Mike, and me, and even people in the chat can kind of look back at, like you said, where are those people? They pop out when stuff is popping off, and it seems like they're trying to defeat the strides we're trying to make. And we're open to listen to everybody because we need the help and we need the knowledge, we need the experience, we need the input. But like you said, where are those people? It seems like they pop out when something's popping off, but then they don't really. They're demeaning in a way sometimes.
And you're right. And Darren can tell you him being honest that there, it's rules and regulations and it's law. People don't realize that when you have to do stuff on law, you don't have a choice. You can't go on emotion. It has to go by law, and what law says is what you have to do. You see what I'm saying? And I just feel like that we got to come together. We got to come together somewhere and start defending our brothers and sisters, no matter what. Because right now we need to be defending right and not defending. Right now we're on a downfall because guess what? The people that doesn't look like us are out here watching us, right? If me and Daryl, if Daryl go out and slap 10 people, and I'm on there, free Daryl, free Daryl, free Daryl, they just try to put him in because he's black. No, they put him in because he's black. You know what I'm saying? or we got to look at it as, we got to look at it how it is. If little Johnny is locked up, or little Sally Ann locked up anything, for a crime. Did they commit a crime? Yes. So what are we saying? We're not supposed to prosecute because they're black. Or we're not supposed to do this because they're black. At the end of the day, the Bible says you reap what you sow. Every time every action we do is a reaction. Every time we got to be held accountable. I remember when I did wrong at home, my mama hit me with a belt. I did wrong out the street. The neighbor popped me in the face. They sent me home. Then my mama did. Then when my daddy got home, my dad. That's 3 offenses. Mm-hmm. That's 3 whoopers for 1 offense. So where are we missing at? If we don't take our kids, sit our kids down, and actually discipline our kids, then guess what? It's a judicial system that will. And then we can't get mad because the judicial system is doing what our job is. We were supposed to do. If we teach them while they're young, if you do something wrong, you're going to jail. If you do something wrong, it's going to happen. And we won't have any problems. But so many times we've been good parents, y'all. And you hear I keep saying we. I'm the same way. We've been too good. We've been good than our parents because we always better. My mama said, you go to jail, you're there. Now that I see it go to jail 10 times, we don't bail them out, put the house up, put everything up. Now we want to get mad at DA or anyone else because they're doing the job. No, we can't. We can't. And we need to just as people, I know I'm on your show, I'm sorry, Darren, and I'm getting, but I just really want us all to come together because we need to, because we could destroy people that can help us by falsely accusing, by character assassination is going on. We got to be careful. We got to be careful because God sits high and looks low. At the same time, how we try to destroy people, the same way He can unlock some of the stuff that other people got going on. That's all. I didn't really mean to.
Oh no. No, that was fine. I hear it in your voice. I mean, the frustration and stuff. We all go through that form of frustration of politics, and I mean, from a local level all the way to the national level. And I understand what you're saying, but One thing I think I take, and when we was out doing the baseball, I had a couple people say, "You still doing baseball?" I said, "Well, you know what? I got to practice what I preach." And what I meant by that, we got to get more involved with the younger generation of kids. If we want to be in touch with them, we got to get back involved with them. So that was my take on it. We just got to practice what we preach. I mean, regardless of how big or how small, um, the community cried and said, "Hey, we don't have enough coaches." So we got more kids than we got coaches. That means we need to get out and be coaches. We got to get more involved, regardless of what sport it might be. Out now, one sport you probably is an expert in, which I know very little for as developed fundamentally. It's football. I don't. For some reason I never got involved with little league football or middle school football. Only thing I ever did was worked the chain one time for the football team, and of course did security for them. But as far as developmental football, I never got involved in it.
Oh, oh yeah, yeah. You know what? I've hooked up with Skyland Falcons.
Okay,
Your real next step is adopting the Skyland Falcons because first of all, and I don't care who liked me, who disliked me on this. And I went live on my page. You can go on my page and look at it. I went live there doing workouts. He does open workouts for everybody. Anybody come right now. It's not locked down to Skyland Falcons right now. But the thing was, I can't have my black son, around people that are talking that like I don't talk. Put it like this. What I'm saying, I'm not accusing nobody of nothing, but tell you what I see with my own eyes and what I hear. They can't hear a black man say things that they don't hear their dad say. So I have to, as what we need to do as men, decide what's best for my family. Is it best for my family to, they need to be somewhere where they're gonna learn the same things I'm teaching. And that's me. It's bigger than football. See, football is just an area to get them in and get them contact. But we have to teach our young black men how to be young, respectable black men on the field and off the field. And Coach Murphy just giving them a shout out. He never would want a shout out, but Coach Murphy, David Murphy, a Stillmanite, for you guys who don't know, he's a Stillmanite. He's awesome. He's a man of God. He's pushing the kids. And I'm telling you, year round, he pushes birthdays for each kid in the organization. Now, that was big for me when I sat there and waited on my kids gonna be there. I said, man, this man loves the kids so much that he's actually, even on off season, he's still pushing them, showing that Coach Murphy gonna be there. And that's what I'm about. So that's why I teamed up with him, came up and said, man, my organization adopted this organization. My kids are playing on the team. My daughter's cheerleading for him. I'm all in. And that's in Skyland Falcons in front of the movie theater. You might don't know. But in front of the movie theater, they practice that. But why am I coming way across? That's just me. It's not. I'm not saying bad on anybody else, but it's me. Me personally, because for me in my house, we are gonna serve the Lord. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's a bigger picture, so I have to pick and choose. And I'm not saying nobody else is not serving, don't get me wrong. But I'm telling you, the role model, I have to pick and choose who's gonna be around my kids. And it's just how it is. We had a parent that pulled up, was trying to smoke. He made them drive to the other parking lot. It's little things that I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, this is what I'm talking about. Because we got to be careful who we introduce our kids to. So just giving it, when you brought that up about football, man, and just giving them a little shout out, man. Coach CJ, Coach man Murphy, all of them over there, man, is great men of God and great for the kids, and just give them a little shout out. But girl, I tell you, man, I'm excited about the city and what's going on, and so much stuff going on. But I just think we come together. We still call it, I've always said the coming together, but we need to have the unity, the more unity, because the more power. That was what made us so powerful back in the day, because we were unity. When they called on all the old school stuff I used to look at when Martin Luther King and all the rest of them, when they called, when the black men of God called people together, they came. It was right now. How hard is it to get them?
Extremely.
Stuff free. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we need to get back on because it's everybody doing good and then separate. That's what the enemy wants. He doesn't want us to come on one accord. So we all need to come on one accord, get together. Let's start praying for our young people. School about to come back in. Let's pray. Let's pray that we don't have stuff going on in the school system. Let's pray that our young men go to school to learn and get an education, and the ones that don't, let's pray that the kid opens up to someone. Or let's do a challenge, man. All the men, let's challenge in different levels, wherever part of the city you're at. Grab a kid that you know of. Man, you can have your own kids to be grown, but adopt a kid. Yeah. It doesn't cost nothing to adopt a kid and just pray for them. Not mean you have to take them out nowhere because we know how that is, but let's pray for them. You know, if it's anything, let's get to the schools and try to get to the principals and ask to volunteer. Whatever you can do. So,
you said a lot when you said challenge, and you know what? I don't think anybody has even brought up mentioning challenge because we do challenges on social media. Challenges, you got people posting every day about challenges. That's the perfect challenge.
But that's what I'm saying. It's what are you going to get out of it? That's the catch. That's what I'm telling. Like people are so stuck on what can I. Man, I'm not getting out there and get sweaty. They ain't gonna do that for me. We just need to get back to being good servants, and that's all we are. From pastor on down, we're servants. We're supposed to be great. First of all, it's time out of telling people what to do. Let's show
them. That's true.
The way I walk is going to talk louder than what come out of my mouth.
That's true.
Because if it doesn't match up, that's the problem. If you keep telling me God is good, God is this, but then I see you come out of Salome house, I'm like, hold on, man. It ain't. That's what our young people are seeing. Our young people are seeing people be kneeling God in the street and they come home and drink and beer acting a fool. Come on, I mean, I'm just sorry. I'm stepping on toes, but we have to be accountable. Held accountable. We need to be accountable for our kids, our wives. My wife wouldn't listen to me. She knew I was a fake phony joker. Let's just keep it real. We got people that want to be near to the house. They don't even got a job. It don't work like that. Being a man is more than just being able to yell and scream and fight. I know I'm going to touch in other areas. I'm just being led. I'm just telling you, man. And first of all, let me tell you, thank you to all the women out there, all the mothers that are trying their best. We are coming. We are out here. If you need help, contact us. Contact us. Let us know. We're on Facebook, Your Real Next Step. You can call 205-886-5947. Regardless, if you need help or whatever is going on with your kids, whatever we can do, we're going to point you to the right direction. But I want to say thank you for you. And it's the dads that are out there too. I don't want to the dads out there doing real good. But just keep it going and let's go. The ones that don't have are not following. Let's challenge you. Men of God, let's go. Let's go. Let's get out here. Let's make a difference in one kid's life. Not asking you to go save a community. One kid. One kid. If you do one kid this week, this month, maybe you can do another kid next month. Then you got two. But let's try this month. The month of July about to start. Find one kid and a doctor, talk to him, pray for him.
Oh, Kevin, this is what I want to ask you. Matter of fact, a parent called me today. 6 and 7-year-old shoulder pads and helmets. Are you aware of anybody that might have some not using, coaches that got some extras? I reached out about that today. I was gonna call you anyway, so you called at the right time. If you think about it, if you find,
I don't, but I know it's just like got to look at something about it. I gotta go back and look at my email. I got an email about some things about that, some equipment and stuff like that too.
Okay.
But I'll tell you who they playing for, who they gonna play for.
I have no idea. I would just ask that I know if anybody
Okay.
know of anywhere they can get some shoulder pads or might have some shoulder pads and a helmet that's no longer being used. And I say I
Okay.
run it by a couple coaches that's in the football with.
Oh, okay. No, I don't, but I'll get back with you because I know I just got an email about some of that stuff like that. Um, but I'll look into it and I'll call you. I can call you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. I'll get back with them too. Yes, look like we need to do a show about veterans. I see a lot of comments. People talking about veterans, information passing on different discharges and stuff. Nita Foster said the code of the reason discharge on the long form of the DD 214 tells everything. The long form of the DD 214 even spells out funeral rights a veteran is entitled to. Also, not all veterans are federal veterans. They are only state veterans. Before moving from York, Alabama for many years, I actually had DD 214 drills where both state and federal representatives spelled out the difference of a veteran's benefit. They didn't do any claims, they just gave you the information, other difference. Unfortunately, many veterans are receiving full benefits. Before getting out, I took all out of processing classes and took notes. Others I know simply thought they would automatically get all benefits, but that's not true. And you know, a good thing about benefits probably need to be discussed between being in reserve and being in active military. Um, if you serve full time, certain benefits as a full time military person, a person that's in National Guard or Army Reserve or Naval Reserve or Air Force Reserve, whichever, are not entitled to the same benefits. So that is a show that we need to talk about and get somebody on to explain about that because a reservist is not entitled to, if I'm not mistaken, any of the medical benefits or uh, some of the privileges as far as home buying things. That I think a lot of the reservists and National Guard probably is based around school funding or grants and stuff that was under. But a lot of stuff is now they give you veteran benefits for as discounts at stores and stuff like that. But for as the veterans benefits, I don't think a lot of reservists get that unless they serve full time and then came to reserve. But if you just went strictly full time reservist without doing any actual time as a military full time military personnel, then you don't get the same benefits. Veronica Tate said, "Believe me, I know it's not an assumption. I have retirees in my family because of that. I know some have a hard time when they shouldn't. Very true for reservists versus full time. Make sure the persons are from each state level and federal level."
Mm-hmm. I know, there was a bit in my family.
Mm-hmm.
Got denied. I mean, just kept getting denied, kept getting denied. And it was just everything that was in place. Time and years served was in place.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like with everything else. Even though there are a lot of variables to it and why they shouldn't and shouldn't get this or that, I feel like if you've been in there at least 10 years, you shouldn't be catching a hard time with whatever you qualify for. That's my whole thing, with
Yeah.
whatever you qualify for. And then there are a lot of them that go through the VA
Yes.
that family member and friends that work with them see, and they even feel bad. They feel like, why? There was one therapist even told one of the vets, you ain't doing it right. So so what she said is absolutely right, but there are a lot of variables a lot of obstacles of just trying to see if you just gonna, how bad do you want this?
Mm.
And that's what it makes them feel like. See, somebody who's out and everything is smoother for them, is A1. I know people right now retired down there in Florida, was retired at 38 because went in at 18, got the home loan, got everything. Kids going to school free. Thank God, by the grace of God, I ain't have to pay you a dime for my children. Academically smart, ACA, ACT test, full scholarship, and then that VA kicks in. So it's a lot of stuff with the VA, and then a lot of stuff that their offspring that I just feel like sometimes they give them a hard time, and then they eventually get it. Not all of them, but a lot of them eventually get it. So a lot of times, then that's what I said. A lot of times it's the way they feel stuff out.
Mm.
And I just feel like sometimes you never know a person's mental capacity. Every day we all walk a fine line, though we want may not admit it, of sanity and insanity. I tell people that all the time because that's what our instructors told us at nursing school. One particular instructor in mental health, and he was right. And then some days y'all just feel like, and y'all ain't been no military, and some people in the military ain't been off in fault. But there are things that they've seen, there are things that happen in the military that truly affect you.
Mm.
So every day we walk a fine line of sanity and insanity. And a lot of times it's not the big thing that pushes you on the insanity side. You've been dealing with the big thing so long, so one small thing pushes you on the side of insanity.
That's
So
a
when
good
when
point.
I speak about the VA, I speak so passionately because father Navy, children's father Army, uncles Marines, and every one of them have had most great experiences. And at the end of the day, they all got what they deserve. But it takes a toll, and mentally, some people are not. They're not ready to go through what some of the stuff that they have to go through.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to some of the stuff that goes on in the military, stuff like RA, PE still goes on. There's a lot of different stuff that still goes on. It's just like any other job, but a lot of times, in some cases, worse because of that. It's almost like you think about the codes. Like when you say people say law enforcement got a code or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of stuff goes on. So when people are trying to obtain certain things, it's like she said, all of those things, yeah, it depends on a whole lot of things. But when you start talking about, I mean, sometimes if you have dishonorable discharge, I don't even know, I've never known anybody to have one, but I know they ain't good. So a lot of it depends on a lot of stuff. But I have seen enough just like fight, fight, fight. And eventually they got what they were supposed to get. And I'm like, just why was that so hard? And it's kind of like what Mike said. A lot of times when people are filling out paperwork, it's not being filled out correctly. A lot of times people won't tell you, and a lot of times it's illegal to say, well, I'm supposed to tell you that you do it this way, that way, and that way.
Mm-hmm. And then it ain't like they get more if you don't get it.
Right.
Well, it look like Mr. Foster know a lot about that veteran stuff. We might have to get her and some of the other veterans
Yeah,
to
because
come.
she said she retired.
Yes. She says she knows some veterans who also get SMC, which is a special monthly compensation for biological parts with that they were born with, but due to service connections, that veteran no longer has. Special monthly compensation checks can be over $8,000 monthly. Woo!
See, it's a lot of stuff. And see, and that ain't the bad side. $8,000, whatever they're dealing with. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But what I'm saying is that some of them are doing great, but I just hate when I'm seeing them behind Walmart.
Yeah.
And they say they served, and they didn't, and I'm like, oh, you must have served just a couple of years. No, they served 10, 15. I'm like, okay, what happened? What's going on? Is there something you can do right now that could probably help you if you knew about it? Who can you talk to? Just like when they go to school, they have the representatives there to help the students. Because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times the mom and dad don't know all of the stuff when it comes to going to college.
Well, I'm pretty sure they call them social workers too, veteran specialists or veteran social workers or
Mm-hmm.
something of that nature. And
Mm-hmm.
and that and
And
that.
actually, it's the state, like she said, some stuff is state, some stuff is federal. In Alabama, it's Alabama who pays for your education. It's not the federal, but it's the federal who gives you your stipend to go to school.
Well, that's something we need to share because that's something that I don't know anything about, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of military personnel that chimed in. I see Marcus McKinney. He chimed in with us. He's a veteran. There's a lot of veteran information I think we could share on this program, especially for the young ones, those that don't know.
Yes, and especially for those who have kids. I see so many veterans where their kids could use I know one of them was chapter 35, the other one was chapter, it's several different programs to go to school. I knew one, and he didn't use it, he didn't want to go to school. But your child, and I think the child was like 26 years old or something. The age goes up there, and she used it. So, depending on their ranks, depending on, other issues, personal issues, or their personal situation, the children don't have to pay for school. They don't have to pay for school. The spouse doesn't have to pay for school.
Hmm.
So it would be good if she came on, because there's a lot of stuff that she definitely knows being retired. Because I'm knowing this as a mother of kids who receive the benefits. So imagine people who've actually been in, like I said, who've served.
Some things I discovered that service veterans officers try to say they VA money as if it comes out of their pocket. That's the same thing we just said. Veterans needs to take classes. Facebook users say, I wish there was someone that knew about the benefits for people who fought in World War II and their spouses. I get so much conflicting information about benefits my grandmother could receive. Well, that. Like I said, sound like it's a topic we're going to bring
I've
up.
heard about that. Yeah, I've heard about that. Some about the much older
Mm-hmm.
recipients being able to see like that. Now that's something Miss Anita might know, but I have heard about people saying like their great grandmothers and stuff like that. There are
Entitled to
benefits
different
that
things, right?
should be theirs
Yeah,
that they don't receive.
and that's just like
I have an aunt in Savannah. She receives my uncle's benefits. She's 92 years old.
hmm. Well, I guess we need to talk
Daryl
about.
and Ron, we got Lisa Young on the line with us as well.
Okay, go ahead,
Hey,
Lisa.
Lisa.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I mean,
Good evening.
good evening. Um, I think I need to talk to Miss Anita because I care for my grandmother who's 90, about to be 98 in a couple of weeks. We're gonna have her big party. But every time I talk to someone about benefits that she could receive because my grandfather fought in World War II, I always get conflicting information. Um, People saying that no, she's not entitled. Then some say yes, she is entitled because he actually fought in World War II. And it gets real confusing. And the problem is every time you go somewhere or try to look into it, you always end up talking to somebody different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's something need to be researched and find out. If Miss Foster, you can join the conversation and help us out, or or lead us in the right direction because this an area I don't know about, and I do have a relative I think kind of talks or speaks about veterans benefits of some sort, but I have to reach out and see if he's still doing it or can give us more information. And I want to say Ulysses Lavender's brother also did it at one time. I can't think of his Michael Lavender might know a little bit about benefits too. So uh, might have to reach out to them and see can they come on the program with us and we talk about veterans benefits, veterans and benefits for the veterans and their family. Like you said, going to school, things of that nature, getting free education, even getting a paycheck after they passed on, things of that nature.
I think that we have a lot of people that seems to be wanting to know more about the elderly veterans that were in the second big war. Uh, Not knowing because I think you have a lot of spouses that are still living from the Second World War, and they probably never got any of those other benefits that probably were available to them because no one ever told them. So, um, and that's the thing too. Like, it seems like it should have somebody that would reach out to. I get, they call it veteran affairs. That's what the VA stands for. It should have somebody that handle the affairs actually. Like that's their job to kind of explain to them what their benefit are, if it's to the vet himself or to the spouse of the vet, so that they can know they're working with and what the things that they need to do and assist them. It makes no sense that because you forgot to dot an I or cross a T, that you don't get the benefits that you were supposed to get. You get denied for stuff. And unfortunately, right. All type of government type of paperwork, if you forgot to fill this part out or something, instead of them saying, hey, I need you to fill this out and then resubmit, you just downright get a decline. So I think something needs to be worked on with all of it.
Well, just think about it, Mike. You're talking about 17, 18-year-old young men and women just happy to be being a part of the military. They're not thinking about the long terms of the benefits that comes along with it.
Absolutely.
You know, I even the young gentlemen that join, young men and women that join the police department. You know, to them at that moment it's just a job. They're not considering that 25-year point of receiving a pension for the rest of their life, or their wife or their kids getting pensions if some certain things happen. So they just at that point is not uh, concerned. I just put it that way. I put it that way because I ain't gonna say naive, because the benefit packages might be there in small print. You think about it, it might be in small print, but you just signing your name on the dotted line saying, okay, you're gonna come in as an E3 or E2, and you gonna travel the world. You ain't thinking about the long term of after you serve 15, 20 years, what comes along with it. So those are things that go ahead. Mm-hmm.
One of the issues that I know I've encountered was back then, and not saying that it's not the way it is now, there was a lot of racism. So you had my grandfather who was shot and had half a lung removed during in combat in the war, and he has like a zero service connected disability. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about when they have to fight for something that is like kind of like okay, that's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. That kind of stuff. And so you got the military records where it shows that he was shot in combat, but because he's gone, he can't apply for the benefits that he should have gotten. So therefore, my grandma is not entitled to certain things. It's just crazy to me.
But well, I don't know how it works. I'm gonna just say, is it any kind of financial benefits that she get from it?
My grandma, she literally gets $120 a month. And but now I was told that she's entitled just in like care benefits up to $1,600 a month. But I was talking to a young man, a gentleman on the phone, And he said, "Oh no, because your grandfather fought in World War II, there's some special provisions for those spouses. But then when you try and you go out there and you try to find out exactly what are those special provisions, you got people in place, just like somebody said, they act like that's their money." And the one lady I encountered, I just walked out the VA because I told her, here's the thing. It's not like you giving her something that was not earned. Mm-hmm. My granddaddy lost a lung in the war. He was shot. Mm-hmm. So, you got people receiving benefits that ain't even went to combat. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, it's like, and I'm just gonna put it out to these black folks. These black people. Mm. So if you can help somebody, why not help them? It wouldn't reduce, my grandma getting everything that's due to her wouldn't reduce the benefits of not one person receiving benefits now or anybody that's going to receive them after her.
Nope, sure wouldn't. Nothing but helping somebody. Nothing but helping somebody.
So, stuff like that, and I have a low tolerance for BS in the first place. So, it's like, she's doing fine now. But, if I can get somebody to come in and refit her bathroom with a tub that she don't have to try to step over into a walk-in tub that she can kind of like maybe sit down in and actually take a good bath, like what's the problem?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we shared a program about elderly assistance. Been over a year or so, but some of these things we probably need to revisit, update home health care assistance, especially for our elderly. Think home like you take care of your grandmother. So something needs to be said, for you. What kind of benefits available for you?
Maybe we have a benefit specialist.
The guy, Veronica, I talked to a guy one day. I was so fed up because going into the federal courthouse is not handicap accessible, to be honest. But going in there, I became so frustrated. I made a phone call, and I just happened to get this guy who was like, "Let me tell you what all your grandma qualified for," and I couldn't stay on the phone with him right then and there. So when I called the number back, I didn't get that same person. Mm-hmm. And so it was almost like you were calling a call center.
Sometimes you do. Yeah. Now, because when I got my girl benefits through the county, the county helped me a lot with the state. Have you tried for state and federal to see if she qualifies for what state and federal benefits that she gets with him being a service member during the civil? Because the county helped me a lot with the state, and the state helped me a lot with the federal. I mean, federal is always kind of direct. I didn't have to deal with the VA though because he was active at the time. And so being that he was active at the time and everything that my girl started to always they started the benefit of it, it just kind of came while he was still active. So that was that was good. But sometimes like somebody else has said maybe the state knows some things, maybe you can contact the state. Was he a resident of Alabama?
Yeah, he was a resident in Alabama, and I have his discharge papers. He was honorably discharged.
Yeah. And like Miss House was saying, what about his D 214, something that gives a lot of information. It's pretty much like she said, all the information that
Well, what was so interesting, even though I had a power of attorney, the federal government does not recognize a power of attorney. The way I was able to get my grandfather records was through the open, after so many years.
Oh, I don't know what it's called, but
it's like an open file or open public information or open public information or something like that. I walked out because one lady told me, well, we don't recognize a power of attorney. So another lady that was out in the house said, oh, you can go in and do a public records request. That's what it is.
Okay.
And I was like, so the lady that was sitting there knew I could do it, get the information to a public records request because of how many years have passed. She didn't even tell me. She just told me that, we don't recognize the power of attorney like you power tripping. What you power tripping for?
Didn't want you to know about that part of it.
But that it's sad that we don't share information. We only hurt each other. Mm-hmm. We only hurt each other. So this shit is
there's more work on her. She in her mindset. That's unfortunately how some people look at it. It's, that's more work on me.
Miss Anita, I'm gonna be calling you tomorrow.
Yeah, because she talking about something you was talking about then. Home repair. That might qualify up under the bathtub, the walk-in bathtub for your grandmother.
Yeah, but I have to have somebody over here to help days her because one thing, I don't want her to trip and fall. If she trip and fall, you know it being that age. It's just, a fall can be deadly for somebody that's that old. Right. And so it gets to like putting her in the tub, you get in there trying to pick her up, it don't work that way. It don't work that way.
Does she have 4 bars in the
tub? No, she does not. And that's what the guy told me. They can come in and outfit her room with the bars around the room. Where you can kind of help balance yourself. Right. He told me everything that I could get. And I said, well, she wasn't a vet now. And my aunt granddad was there. He said, yeah, but he fought during World War II. And so there are some special provisions that are put in place for their spouses. I was like, oh, wow, nobody has ever shared this information with me. And there was one guy that was very helpful, but he retired. His name was Eric. I can't think of his last name. I know his name was Eric. He was at the courthouse. And he was the one that said when why she only getting this amount, she can get up to $1,600. It's just stuff like that. See, I'm telling you, a lot of the people at the courthouse know about both, but I definitely know they know about state. But a lot of them know about both because a lot of them are retired.
Yeah, I was going to say you might want to catch some of them old heads because these young heads that going in there don't know nothing.
Yeah, a lot of them are retired.
They don't know nothing. They ain't trying to learn nothing, and they just don't have the knowledge to pass on down.
But I can tell you one agency that has been a godsend is the area agency on aging. Because I get so many papers in the mail. I don't know what all these papers are. If you don't want to fill them out wrong and end up hurting somebody, or somebody getting penalized because you put the wrong amount on them, right? Mm-hmm. And so I walked in and the lady said, oh yeah. I said, do you know what all these are? Oh yeah. And she just grabbed the paper, started filling them out. And said, okay, so you mail this here, you mail this here. She said, never mind, I'll mail them for you. And everything was straight. Everything was straight. And I'm like, oh my God. Even like with Social Security, I took some of this stuff down Social Security and asked for help. Well, who are you? I said, well, here's my power of attorney. But we don't recognize that. But as a power of attorney, you're responsible for her affairs.
I tell you that.
Veronica.
That's the only thing they want to make sure you do is pay a bill. That's all they want to make sure you do.
Well, here's the thing is she 98. It ain't like she couldn't come down there.
Yeah. Now, Veronica, here's a question I want to know about, and this is something relatively new. I've never heard of vertigo.
You have never heard of vertigo?
You never heard of vertigo?
Oh.
Wow, really?
My brother said
that ain't no good feeling.
No, my brother was diagnosed with it, and when he was trying to explain it to me, I'm like, I ain't never heard of that. But I'm pretty sure.
I had vertigo, and it affected me for months, and it still affects me. I cannot ride in the back seat of a car and look out the window while we're rolling, or I get like I get nauseated. But I have vertigo. I developed it with a real bad sinus infection.
Yeah.
And that's
So vertigo basically makes you feel like you're spinning and you're not. And it could be it can occur for many different reasons. But a lot of the times it's your inner ear.
Daryl.
And like they said, a sinus infection, it probably affected her ear as well.
Back in your day, Daryl, they probably called it air sickness. You got air sick.
It causes you to feel really, really dizzy and off balance. So has he been? How long has he been feeling like that before he realized? Oh, they told him what it was.
They told him what it was. He experienced it.
Has he been experiencing it for a while, and it got worse, or was it just to the point where he just had to go?
I think
how long?
He got to the point where he had to go to the doctor, and they somewhat got it under control, I guess you can say.
Okay.
But that was just something.
Yeah, because it's actually you can have like peripheral vertigo, and that's kind of like your inner ear. Something's going on with your inner ear. It can be from infections. It can be from having all your sinuses. You can go to ear, ear, nose, and throat. All that stuff starts to come together, kind of. So it can be that, and you have a central when it's something's maybe an infection or something's going on with the brain. But could be traumatic brain injury, could be stroke, but God forbid. But it usually a lot of people have that peripheral vertigo, and it's kind of an inner ear problem. But it makes you feel like you did. Some people have to hold the wall to walk. Some people, like Lisa said, they may not be able. They may sound strange because you're like, well, you're sitting still. You're sitting still, but the car is moving, and you already feel like you're moving. It's what It's so it's it can be something else.
I got vertigo when I was in an earthquake.
So this is something that turns on and off?
Well, for some people it gets, for some people it may last for weeks, some people for days, some people for months. Some people have an occurrence and they don't have another one. It's just one of those kind of things where, or some people have it and it's mild, and so they'll they deal with it. They know. And some people have it and it's severe for them, and they have to take medication.
Yeah. Okay. That was just something I was learned, a new terminology, I guess. Is it contagious?
Wait a minute.
Hey, if you don't know, you gotta ask. You don't know, you gotta ask. Seriously, I didn't know nothing about nothing called no vertigo. I'm like, huh? Yeah, they tell you I got vertigo. Okay.
Yeah, the old folks used to call it air sickness though. That's like you just really, really dizzy or spinning, and like I said, you feel like you're going every which way at the same time.
Well, he had the dizzy spells, I guess you can say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That may give it some. I know one of the most common pills is Antivert. It's a little, it may not be blue sometimes, but a lot of times it's a little blue tablet, oval shaped tablet. It's called Antivert. Some people say Antivert, but it's Antivert. But there are other
other blue pill.
But no, it ain't that dark blue. But there are other medicines. Some people take corticosteroids. Some people, like I said, it may be because of an infection. Like Lisa said, what you say, you got a sinus infection, Lisa. So once their infection clears up, they get some antibiotics, and it's okay. And then some people may have it even after the fact.
So did y'all talk about this new threat?
No.
that was made today, where someone said they were gonna shoot some black kids up.
Oh God! Look, they laughing at Mike. I bet they laughing at Mike.
Who?
Anita Foster. Are you laughing at Mike? What Mike said?
Mm-hmm.
About the blue people.
Oh,
No, we
When,
hadn't talked about it.
when and where, Lisa?
So
Yeah, I
I'm
didn't hear about
seeing
it.
now it was on Facebook. I heard about it earlier today. The police have identified the suspect and talked to him. Another white person making a threat to kill black folks, and he said that he wanted to watch their heads split open. And they talked to him and said it was not a credible threat.
What? Okay. So, but nothing is racism. The authorities, it's clear what it is.
But see, I figured they didn't want to do anything to him because they don't want to have to do anything to those other two girls.
So he was local?
He was on a YouTube show, sort of like this one, and he said that he was from Northport, Alabama. And the guy puts on the screen, if you know this dude, notify law enforcement.
And then you get these law enforcement. Oh my God.
and this is the second instance where you see something, you say something, and they basically say none of this stuff credible, and then somewhere down the line, this joker come out there and decide he wants to start shooting somebody. What they gonna say?
But black kids can't do that, and I'm just gonna say it. Black kids can't do that because kids have done that, and they have gotten charged domestic threats.
I actually had a conversation with Hayes Will about the young lady, the shelter student, and he basically said that it wasn't his office. She wasn't charged with a crime that would be prosecuted in his office because what she was charged with was a misdemeanor. As if I was mincing my words. That was the reason why I was calling you because she was only charged with a misdemeanor. And I just told him, I said, well, let me be completely honest. If she was a black male, she would be in jail. And she would not have a bail. He said, no, I assure you that's not this office. And I said, I can assure you that it is. It is your office. I don't know at what point these are going to start being taken seriously. I don't, do somebody have to be shot and killed for them to say we messed up?
I think that's where it's gonna go. Listen, if you don't keep on just like turning a blind eye to people doing or saying these things and putting it on social media or anything like for as many people can see as possible. And when you actually go and catch them, it's like, oh, okay, well, it ain't real. They were just joking around. Don't do it again now. You're gonna get more and more people that's gonna do it, and one of them people gonna actually pull it off. What they're saying they're going to do. Everything should be credible. That's just like they say if somebody said they're gonna kill themselves, you're supposed to turn to me. You're supposed to call and get them some help. Even if you don't believe them, you're supposed to get them some help anyway. That's the same thing with this situation.
But here's the thing, and I might piss some people off with this. It's not white folks are not the problem. It's black folks. If if they were handing out new Jordans, there'll be a line tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. And y'all, everybody know I'm telling the truth.
Yep.
There will be a line. They said they will be in line at 6 o'clock in the morning to get a free pair of Jordans. The new Jordans that came out, the line will be wrapped around the building at 4 o'clock in the morning.
And don't talk about a PlayStation.
But
Y'all
when
talking
it
about
comes
something
to
they
something like this,
about her.
you ain't heard from not one pastor, not one single black pastor has made a statement. None of your elected officials who have made a statement, even though 2 weeks ago they went to the city council meeting, called out the NAACP. Yeah, I'm gonna say their name, the NAACP, the Alphabet Gang.
Who said that?
I'll send you the video. That's what I love about city council meetings. They're recorded.
We need to call out their name since they want to call out somebody's name. Oh my God!
It was Cassius. He said it in the video. And Hayes Wells sat there because it might have been 3 weeks ago. Because I'm getting my times mixed up. They sat there and they talked about gun violence in Tuscaloosa. They talked about gun violence in Tuscaloosa and how they were fed up with it and how they were going to take a stand against it. And they called for aggressive police. And we talked about it on the show. They asked for aggressive policing. Now you got white people threatening to kill black people. And all of a sudden, it's a joke. We got a prominent attorney in Tuscaloosa that said, and I quote, they were silly charges. They shouldn't have been charged. Then when I said I expected more of you, he said they were quoting a rap song. That girl was quoting a rap song. What rap song have y'all heard of that says, MF concealed carry, I'ma kill me some some ends in Walmart? Not one. And I'll be the first one to admit I ain't up on my rap game. But if anybody know the song, can you please let me know? Because I hate being there. It's not a song. But for all of these people to have taken such a big stand against gun violence in our city, these are your elected officials, Hayes Williams, all the council people, every last one of them, Walt Maddox, for all of them to take such a big stand, then what we did, and let me tell you something else, because I'm calling out everybody.
That's yes, they only take a stand when it's considered black on black crime. Black on black crime. Mm-hmm.
When we did our gun violence rally, Moms Against Gun Violence, Judy Taylor had so much to damn say, haven't said a word. So you can't partner with me for nothing. Oh, Lord. You can't partner with me for nothing. After Hayes Wells tried to make light of it, he said, I would love to partner with you on anything, on some stuff. You can't use this. You can't use this because I'm telling you, black folks need to get fed up. Black folks need to get fed up. We need to be organizing. When it comes time to vote on all of these clowns again, they should not get any vote. Because what they do right around the election, they become real black friendly. And I'm talking about the black ones too. Who is always their mouthpiece. Let these white folks do their own talking. Well, when you call it like that, what the other one said, you want black power.
And what I always say, we want black equality. That's what we want. We want equality. Be it black, white, red, or brown. We want equality. So we want them charged with the same thing black boys and girls would have been charged with. You know they become kids. They 20, 21, 22, they're kids. But our 14, 15-year-olds are treated like adults. They got all these names for them. And then let me tell you, they're holding somebody right now that really don't even, what they charge them with, doesn't even come with a jail sentence because they're afraid that they might retaliate. What kind of justice system is that? Hayes, well, while you in meetings talking about me, talking about how divisive I am. You're not divisive. You ain't going on along with the bull crap. That's what they want. They want once they go along to get along with them.
How many times you done heard me say, Veronica, just a new NAACP? I don't need a seat at your I don't need a seat at your table. I don't need an invite to your damn meeting. But I'll do you this. I'll do you this. You can come over here and you can talk to us. But trust and believe anything you say gonna be repeated. I don't have to get behind closed doors. I'm not worried about. Somebody asked me, "Are you getting into death threats?" I wish they would. I wish they would. Wow. These young folks in the street ain't the only ones packing. They gonna look for something on you. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I don't care about them looking for something on me. Girl, see, and it's a sad time that's the first thing somebody think of that somebody would threaten you. Look at the young lady that just testified, getting all these death threats. These people feel like they can be as corrupt as hell, as corrupt as they want to. But as soon as you talk about doing what's right, that's a threat to them. Mm-hmm. It's sad that in this country, doing what's right is a threat to people. Yep. And then you got some people who don't even know what side they're supposed to be on, and decide that they think they own, they're not even on. Yep. That's why they ain't never but some silly scapegoats. Cause when the hammer come down, you the one doing all the talking. I guarantee you, I listen to people all the time. I guarantee you, when all the covers, all the layers are pulled back, you'll have people saying, I didn't make that statement. And if you go back and watch, they never did. They let somebody else be a mouthpiece. And I don't care. Well, they didn't throw me under the bus when they say I didn't make that statement. That is throwing you under the bus. Because you were talking, defending them, when you should have shut up and let them defend themselves. But all these threats on black folks, and they're singling out black people, that's something that the news did report. And then black people being quiet. It was to black students. He said black students. That girl said N. She said Niggers. And I said to myself, well, damn, you mean just random black folks? Like, you ain't even gonna, like, you ain't gotta be mad at nobody, man. You just gonna haul off and start shoot? Who you serving? That's what these mass shooters have been doing, hauling off, just shooting. But they say it's not serious.
Somebody inboxed me the video. I think I could play it for everybody can hear it. Let's see real quick.
We're gonna shoot up a school and kill all the black children inside. Watching their brains explode from the inside.
You're from Alabama, Northport, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, that's good enough.
That's all I got. I'll play it one more time.
We're gonna shoot up a school and kill all the black children inside. Watching their brains explode from the inside.
You're from Alabama, Northport, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
That's all I could get out of it. It must have been recorded from somebody else.
So why is it that nobody in Tuscaloosa thinks it's serious, but people in Atlanta, Georgia think it's serious? Serious enough to report on it in little old Tuscaloosa. Oh, the one with the young lady from Shelton was shared. Have y'all heard of Young Turks? It has been viewed over 90,000 times. And Atlanta was reported on it. Atlanta Black Star reported. Yep. And then some famous YouTuber reported it, and it got over 8,000 views. So it's like. But only Tuscaloosa. But here's the thing. It's not funny. think it's not.
Here's the thing, though, Veronica. It ain't them, it's us. Because we done already saw with the redistricting that Alabama, that Tuscaloosa has ground up, right? We keep putting the same people back in office that never serve our purpose, but we put them in office.
It's no way. And then it's like people want to say, I'm like, you can say whatever you want to. You can say, I got into it with some of our people. And I'm talking about into it on other platform, coming out some, these people, it's about the money. They don't do what they want to do. You can't tell me that bull crap. Everything is about money. But you can't tell me that there's not power in numbers. The last election proved that, in spite of the fact that 80 million people didn't vote. These people, our people get to the point where they thinking voting is no good. So you feel like our folks just got beaten, hosed down, and dog whooped and all this kind of stuff back in the day, and now you just gonna sit on because it's nothing is no good. A lot of them these are saying nothing happened. Obama don't do nothing, Biden don't do nothing. Like we were saying the other day, they don't even understand the levels of government. They don't even understand the branches of government. But then they want to say who is and who isn't doing anything, and then they won't go out and vote. I don't care. Yes, money is powerful. That's why Trump doing the things that he's doing. You can't tell me some of these folks ain't paid off than this man just being silent to the stuff this man's doing. That's why I call that young lady a hero, a shero, because that's what she is. She had to be 20, that's like she was like 20, born on 26 years old. And then now she's getting threats because of men, 40, 50, 60-year-old men who were cowards. And some of them are cowards, they're okay with it. They're okay with it. And they've been okay with it. He just made them comfortable with it. And now we have people on the state and local level who look like us who are okay with it. Won't say a word, will not part their lips, as if white people put them in office. But them will be the same people. Let's say like all of us was in a room and somebody came in and sprayed the room with bullets and all of us were killed. Them be the same people that will be at our funeral trying to get a spot, trying to get in the camera. Hayes Wells included. Walt Maddox included. Every council person included. They would be there. It's sad. But you ask it's beyond sad. What is it to say I denounce this girl? I don't think that it's something that should be taken lightly. All threats of violence should be taken seriously. What is it? What are you worried about? Are you worried about an election? That's what, 2.5 years from now? Well, we told them that's nobody's just forgetting about that. So I guess they are. They don't understand. When people say they don't forget what you do, and people have said that before, but we have to remember what they did at election time. People are starting to actually remember what they do at election time. Y'all know we was talking about Warnock and Herschel Walker being neck and neck. But guess what? Just like they do, they want to expose everything. When Mr. Walker got exposed, that maybe he allegedly don't take care of his kids. Tell me why Warnock got a 10-point lead now. So information is education. There's power in numbers. And there's power in education. Educate them on this stuff they're doing, because a lot of this stuff that they're doing openly out in the public is just wrong. So in the other aspects, in other things that they do, that they have going on behind the scenes, there's probably a lot of wrongdoing. Because hell, we all human. Our people gotta quit making elections about popularity contests. Exactly, because popularity don't do a thing. Popularity don't get the what they say, closed mouths don't get fed. That popularity ain't got you nowhere. I speak up when it's time to speak up.
Go ahead, caller. We got a call on the line.
Hey, girl, how you doing?
Good.
I had to call back. Man, I got to sent to my boss and the young lady just done talking. I'm going to tell you, and I understand where she's coming from, but also, too, we got to be careful when we throw names out. Once again, what I was saying was, and I'm standing as a black man in Tuscaloosa. some of them that you threw out, I've seen them guys that are elementary school, and I said, hey,
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if they were at the elementary school. That was then. I'm talking about what happened in right now, and they're sitting silent.
The evil stuff they do.
Let me tell you something. I don't have no dog to fight either way it goes. But let me tell you something. I'm in Northwood. But let me tell you that some people are bounded by law, right? Now, if you gotta understand, it's the law. Daryl can tell you too. He follows the law. The law is real crazy. Sometimes we feel like you should be able to, but it's on how people react. It's how the law is written. It's how people react. It's how it's done. It's how did it disrupt anything. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not a lawyer nowhere from it. I ain't been in no college, but I can just tell you that some of them, and I'm not speaking from all of them, man. Like, you know, like you said, everybody's not that. Everybody's not, and everybody's not good. But I can only speak to certain people that I know of that have been out to the elementary schools. For me as a black man in America, my friend has came and took pictures and talked and helped me edify some of these young black men. Watch this. But we don't get upset about the ones that look like us that hasn't came out and did anything either. Like, and I'm just being honest with you. Let's be real. We attack them, but guess what? And Daryl knows I'm out here in the street. I'm out here with the young people. So I've invited people to look like, and I think you black, man. I know the you, but people look like me and you. I invited them, and they husband sent me to their secretary and never even returned my call. So, and like you said, in election time, then they show up in election time, but we don't hold our own accountable. So how?
I'm talking about our own.
I'm just talking about our own.
Okay. I just jumped on, but I was just heard you when you mentioned somebody I know personally. That's why.
Well, if you know that person personally, do me a favor. Pick up the phone, call them. It ain't that late, and ask them why they haven't made a statement about somebody making a death threat toward the people that they come out and support.
Okay,
Because see, this is the problem.
We
got people that'll show up with a camera roll. We got people We got people that will show up with a camera roll.
No, I'm saying you talking what death threat you talking about? Talking about the white girl?
And the one that just came out today.
But see,
from Northport.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. The white girls is different than the one that no. It's two different things going on. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, we know. That's what we're talking about.
Okay, because they're going to tell you too. If I make a death threat, right, and everybody back with the building, then that's terrorist threat. Am I right, Carol?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear about. I can tell you talk to them because that's just one element of it. But I do know if you say bomb in the airport, I walk up to the desk and I say that person said bomb. They're going to take that as a credible threat. The entire airport is going to be evacuated.
You just said it. That's what I'm saying. The action of the evacuation was.
Nobody had to hear it. One person just had to report that that person said it. Did you hear what I said?
From the Justice Minds.
Nobody has to hear it. All I got to do is walk up and say, ma'am, that young man right there said bomb. They're not going to sit and talk to you and find out if it was a credible threat. You're going to be played. You're going to be detained. They will evacuate. They don't care. And it's not up to them to find out if it was a credible threat. Once a threat is made, if I walk out of the store without paying for something and saying I was just going out to my car to get some money, I was going to go back in there and pay for it, I'm going to be arrested for theft. Because it's not up to them to determine if I was stealing or not. Once that element of the crime has taken place, me walking out without paying for it, I'm going to be arrested for theft, regardless of what my intent was. And I know how people do a play on words, but trust and believe, if she was black and male, she would be in jail right now. As they are walking around and openly saying they're going to find ways to keep these people locked up.
Yes,
Now,
black
what
female
people are
too,
they
Mike, because
talking
that's what they
about?
say. They say we are even women. And I just don't be with that deflection. That deflection. Some of us fall for the deflection and the okie doke too easily. I ain't with that deflection. The thievery, the theft is that should make it all this understandable.
So if they don't have a problem throwing my name around, you trust and believe I don't have a problem throwing it.
Oh, what's your name? I didn't catch your name. I'm sorry, man.
Lisa Marie Young. I'm the daughter of Eva and Zechariah.
Okay, I didn't know who you were. I didn't know. I was on before you guys came on. So, and then I got a text message and I just jumped back on. I was halfway asleep.
So
Wait, you got a text message? Oh.
No. I'm talking about a girl, not a y'all. Not talking about y'all. A girl message because I guess somebody heard me on it earlier. So I just happened to pop back on. And I look, I was listening. That's all I respond.
Well, you know what? I always appreciate other people comments and their views, because you know I'm not always right, and there's nobody that's always all the time, right all the time. But when you have people that make public statements about how they need to control gun violence in Tuscaloosa, and you have someone threatening someone with a gun, and I know for a fact right now you're detaining somebody and they don't even have a bond, and because you're afraid that they might retaliate. Okay, that's a violation of somebody's constitutional rights.
And it still boils back to when we say because you know somebody, the popularity stuff. Because if my family wrong, I'm gonna tell them. If I'm wrong, I want them to tell me. I don't care how long, and I've known them forever, or they know me forever. If we family, whoever it is, yes. Sometimes you have to call people to the accountability table, no matter
And
how
see,
long you've
that's
been
the
knowing.
problem. That's the problem right there. When I said it ain't them, it's us.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem right there. It ain't them, it's us. And I don't care who get mad about that. I am sick and tired of this disparities in the way black and whites are treated when it comes to our criminal justice system. That's from the juvenile justice system, that's from the criminal, that's to the civil, and that's to the family court. They're all treated differently when it's by race, and everybody knows that it is true. Even the ones that say that's not true know that it's true. But that somehow they feel that they're so superior. And if they get just the right if they get just the right Negroes to be vocal from their point of view,
Then somebody like you is
else,
determined to
there's
be
a large
divisive.
number of black folks that just say, well, you know, so and so said it, so it gotta be true.
Mm-hmm.
When everybody knows that blacks and whites are treated differently in our court system, in our judicial system.
Hey, Miss Lisa.
Yes.
Hey, I never met you, and hey, one thing about you, you remind me of my mama. Strong black woman. Hey, I love it. I love it. I love it. But let me tell you something. I don't know. I'm not in all the politics type thing, but I'm not even trying to save kids' lives one at a time. That's all I'm trying to do. What got me was, I ain't talking about you because you weren't a part of it, but I've been in a group, and I don't know if you know it or not, but they were jumping on the judges about letting some of our black kids back out. Do you know about that?
That's what we're talking about.
Well, watch it.
Yeah. They want to just get tough on crime when it's our black kids.
But listen, what you just said about it's about us. Watch this. What about? I know what everybody doesn't know. This hasn't even hit the block yet because we would have been. I know you would have brought it up if you. Do you know the black pastors of these neighborhoods said lock these folks up, don't give them a second chance? Do you know
I'm
that?
sure they did. I'm sure they did.
I'm not saying what I'm telling you what I'm telling you what I know.
I'm sure they did. I don't doubt anything you say.
Guess what, Ms. Lee? If I didn't get second chance, how would I be here helping people now? Second chance. Young people shouldn't be judged because when they're young and I get it if the crime is major, but some of these guys are making offenses because they're just trying to survive. Some of them are making dumb chances. They're young, they're kids. I always believe in second chance. See, I was against when I heard lock them up, don't let them out. I was like, what? That's crazy to me. But in general, I just think everybody come to the table together. Let's figure out what we got to do and do it. Instead of all this other stuff going on, I just think we come together. Whatever happened to come together as one, and like you said, make a difference. Come together as one. Let's get on one accord. So just also not just us talking, we'll be on one accord being blessed while we're doing it. And the blessing is reaching the kids, reaching the until we get on one accord, all of this, everything going on, it's not going to help the people that need it. The only way we can help the people that need it reach their souls and to the change from the way they're at or stop them from going that way is us get on one accord and showing love.
Well, I'm not for uh a third, fourth, and fifth chance. I'm not for that. Because, and anybody will tell you, and I say it all the time, a lot of times with our black youth, it's a parenting issue. Because you got too many people that want to be friends with their children and not a disciplinarian and a guide.
There you go. They want to be friends. Now, you right on that. I'm dealing one-on-one with the kids. They want to be friends.
So,
one thing I do, I bring respect. You're going to respect me as a man. I'm going to respect you as a child. But also, too, I'm not going to be your friend. We're not equal. Because equal means you think you can cut me out, go off, whatever. You know, we're not going to have that. So, like you said, it does start at home. Home being, hey, I'm the parent. I'm not your friend. I remember all the kids that were friends with their parents are pretty much still living with their parents right now that I grew up with. And the ones that ain't, we all look back and say, man, thank God we had a parent that we didn't like. All the ones that didn't like their parents growing up, we love them now. And the other way around, the ones that like them, they use them and don't get along right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's exactly what you're saying. I'm not for third or fourth, fifth chances either, but my thing is, just do the crime and then cross the board. Like I said, I want to be equal across the board and move it like that. But all I can tell you is it's a lot of stuff in Tuscaloosa being moved behind closed doors, and they look like me and you.
Yeah, that's what we said. And when you try to tell people, people don't want to believe who the problem is. They don't want to believe because here's the thing. I guarantee you, if our pastors and the so-called black community leaders all said tomorrow morning, we're going to meet at the courthouse at 8 o'clock and we're going to demand that those girls' charges be escalated and that that young man is, whoever made the death threat today, is charged. I guarantee you it would happen. Well, because you know what we represent? You know what represent then? Black voters. Black voters. Because they know everybody there has an audience and a following. And just one word among them, you out of office.
What happens?
We put people in office, we can take them out of office. But instead, you have pastors that won't even make a statement and denounce behavior. But they don't think that's their problem. But I can tell you this, every time they think that there's a meeting, or they feel like, or a camera, why wasn't I called? Why wasn't I called? That's why I don't belong to nobody damn church. Because, as a matter of fact, I sent letters and I got the emails to prove it I sent funding sponsorship letters for our Juneteenth celebration. Out of all the pastors I sent it to, I got one church to help us out. One church. One church. Out of all the churches in Tuscaloosa that represent all these black people in Tuscaloosa. There's a church on every corner on the west side of Tuscaloosa. There's a church on every corner in the west side of Tuscaloosa. There's a church on every corner on the west side of Tuscaloosa. And not one. And if they say that they did not get my funding letter, they telling a hot lie. And you can tell them, Mary Lala, Lisa Young, Lisa Wilson, all of them. Sasha, Bonquisha, all my personalities said that. They tell them that.
Bonquisha, huh? Okay.
And as a matter of fact, I know that there was a discussion about supporting it, and some of these pastors around here chose not to support it. Some of your big name pastors. And I'm going to tell you this. Black people in Tuscaloosa ain't going to be moved till some of the old folks jump back in the Bible. They make backroom deals. And we had a young man on here. They do all the little dirt and then get up in the pulpit on Sunday and denounce the same shit that they do. They something else. Think you're going to get 10% of my money.
See, at least you can start another show.
Well, let me tell you something, Luis.
The affliction is real.
Yeah,
in this community.
You're right, but everybody else, guess what? It's a judgment day for everybody.
Where is the NAACP? Where you at? Where you at? The NAACP has been more visible in this community than it has in 20 years. And you got to ask what the NAACP, they ask, why don't you show up at crime scenes? Because I ain't no damn crime fighter and I ain't no DPO. That's your damn job. That's your job to get up out your bed in the middle of the night when there's a shooting. When I did show up at one, I was told to get back. I said, well, I'm the president of the NAACP. I don't care who you are, I'll put you under arrest. So let me take my black ass to the house.
Hey, we got a caller on the phone as well.
Yes, sir. I want to speak on behalf of some of the things Miss Young was saying. I've been active in the community for some time now, and I agree with her what she was saying. There's a lot about the black leaders, but it just don't go to the black leaders. Also, these so-called organizations too. Yes, with the young ladies, making the threat about, killing niggers and saying another. Excuse me if I'm not supposed to say the whole word, but they were making the threats. Well, I was actually assaulted by a white supremacist. Miss Young, I called her in January when it happened, told her everything about it, and thinking the NAACP was going to be my help, come to my rescue, and they didn't.
I got the text messages to prove it as well. You know you telling a lie. And that's the reason why the state NAACP told you we done did all we can to help you.
No, ma'am.
I got anybody on here wants to see the text messages and the emails, I'll be happy to forward them to you. There's LMYOUNG.205@gmail.com. 205-887-3701.
Anyway,
you were told who to contact. When you finally did it almost a year later, they told you waited too late.
Who did? Who told me I waited too late? Anyway, I'm calling in to talk to them. Like I said, I have my paperwork too.
You calling in to start a mess, but you
I'm not. You right one.
Because see, I'm not one of those people that's worried about what everybody think about me. I'm not one of those people that are concerned with my image because I know who I am.
That's exactly what she was. She was concerned about your image.
I might lie.
And you was concerned.
Let's hear what Ms. Wells has to say. Go ahead, Ms. Wells.
Yeah, go ahead, Ms. Wells. Go on, tell her why I put your stuff on, why I put your text messages on Facebook. Go ahead.
Yeah, that you will get sued too.
Or no hell I want, because them my text messages that you sent to my phone.
Mm-hmm. We can send it to the right people. But anyway,
no, man,
I did.
Yes,
I called in. Like I said, when Mr. Carter was the NAACP member, some years ago, I called him about.
He didn't do nothing for you. That's what
No, I never told you that because he was reporting every
went
time.
down at a legal aid where he was, and they told you waited too late to come to them. That's what you said.
Yes, they did tell me that. They said when we appealing to Montgomery, she said actually she couldn't handle it. They was too short staffed. They couldn't handle going to Montgomery. That's what my appeal is now. Is in Montgomery, and I did it myself. I actually went to the court and I defended myself because I'm a criminal justice graduate and major. Me too. So I defended myself.
Me too. And the first thing they teach you in criminal justice is the person that defends themselves in court has a fool for a lawyer. That's the first thing they teach you in criminal justice and in law school.
I had been law school. I said criminal justice major.
I'm a criminal justice major.
I will go to law school.
Wait. Major too. But see, you part of the problem because you called to the state office and told hot lies on me. And then when I provided them with the proof that I had talked to you and I had advised you on what to do and you chose not to do it, then that's when you look real silly. And now you will call on this show and call yourself gonna try to damn defame me. Go ahead.
Damn, you just made yourself look so ignorant and sound.
No, you the ignorant one.
No, I'm not.
Lisa.
It's not good that you just talking loud like normally ignorant black people do.
You did not have your dad on the phone. You did not have your dad on the phone, and he said, "Hang the goddamn phone up." She said, "No shit."
No, my dad has never been on the phone with me.
Okay, all right.
My dad is in Mississippi.
Yeah, baby.
You have me mixed up with somebody.
Have I not said before every phone call coming my phone recorded?
I do the same thing too. I do the same thing too.
Okay, then well just go ahead, go on top, baby.
But anyway, as I was saying, Mr. Carter did go every time I went to court, he was there. Every time they had a problem with another pastor I dealt with in the past that asked for my help. Mr. Carter was there. Also, Mr. Bernard Sanders came down and met with me. Also, Mr. Leon Steele, which they know me and will speak for me, and my status and what I represent and stand for. I don't need somebody loud mouth and stuff because they talking loud and doing nothing because you're not doing anything since you've been the president. But talk.
You too?
Well, I thought. Oh Lord. But I came up on I called in. I felt compelled to call in when I heard the mess that that was saying about the pastors and the leaders. That goes for everybody, any leader, anybody that's over an organization, or part of an organization needs to do what they're supposed to do, what they say they were going to do.
And I just tell you, I'm not Olivia Pope.
I'm not.
You go get you an attorney.
You're not intelligent.
Go get you an attorney.
You're not
the NAACP does not provide attorneys.
I never asked for an attorney to go. I never asked for an attorney.
Didn't I tell you to call SCLC because they would help you with an attorney?
I did.
Okay, so did they get you an attorney?
No, Mr. Williams said he was going to talk to the man. And I don't need him to talk to him because he's a white supremacist. He wasn't going to listen.
So you didn't want SCLC?
I talked to him. I said, but he couldn't. He said all the thing he offered was to talk to the man. You wouldn't talk to the you talk to the young lady that made the three.
So you want to talk to them to just go off of what you said and not get the full story?
No, I have the paperwork. I had everything.
You had your paperwork.
Yeah.
You had your paperwork.
Yes. If he wanted to see it, I couldn't see it to him.
See, this is what I mean, y'all. So she didn't want him to talk to the man that she was accusing of being a white supremacist. And see, I could tell your whole story, but I got more integrity than that.
Lisa.
I got more integrity than that.
First of all, I have a police report, so I don't have to go. You don't have to go off my word. I mean, you can go ahead and come to court on the
So since you on the phone, and we'll tell them what happened the first time you contacted
Lisa.
May the 13th, 2021. Tell them what the problem was. And then we'll go into how that spun off into the problem you had with your landlord. Go ahead. What did you call me for May the 13th, 2021?
That was about like it wasn't my landlord, it was the mobile home manager.
No, that wasn't it. But go ahead. That's what
May,
and you know it wasn't. But go ahead.
in May when if I called you last year, that's what it was about.
Okay. All right.
And I went to court and I won.
Okay. All right.
And I have my paperwork. I have my paperwork for that.
You know that's not what you called me about, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think that we got completely off of.
But see, she just said she went to court, she won her case. So what is it that you want me to do now?
No, I wasn't talking about last year because I won my case last year. I'm talking about this year.
So you have called me
I called you a white supremacist.
You called me that man. You know what?
Hold on, Miss Vicky.
I've
Miss
never
Vicky.
talked to that man. I can't characterize that man because I don't know anything about him. All I know is your side of the story.
So, Miss Vicky,
yes,
for your call, the reason for your call into the show was it solely because of what you heard Miss Jones say about the people in the community?
I didn't really know who was talking.
Well, you said wait now. You said you heard her say that about the members of the community.
Yes, when I saw Lisa's name came up, and I don't know her voice, because like I said, I've never heard her talk on there, because I'm not on there every week.
But I thought you didn't address her when you came on?
Yes, but when I was speaking, I was like, okay, I hear somebody talking about the black leaders and bashing the black pastors. And that's what I was saying, if you fit in that category, then you can't bash one person and not put yourself in there. So
but you knew Miss Jones.
I am not a leader.
Yeah, but you knew Miss Jones was on the phone. Yeah, but you knew Miss Jones.
And I didn't know it. Just go ahead on and say.
Okay. What I'm about to say is that I don't think anybody could call in and chastise anybody if that was the reason for the call.
No, I'm not chastising her. She's older than me. I wouldn't chastise her because I'm younger than her.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
Leaders. I'm just saying I'm making a statement about black leaders, and this is my situation. My situation fits in with what we're saying.
Because she was willing to call in and deflect the whole conversation with her BS, but she didn't tell y'all.
Because what I felt like it was that she wanted to talk to
Lisa. With the Nation of Islam, and she was gonna have them to come down and jump on folks.
No, I didn't.
You didn't tell nobody that you didn't tell that man that you were with the Nation of Islam.
What man?
Okay then.
What man did I tell I was with the Nation of Islam?
Did you tell anybody you were with the Nation of Islam?
Mr. Carter knows I'm with the Nation of Islam. Now
that's about Mr. Carter.
First, I do not tell anybody what I am because it's not none of their business.
So how do you look on my because you know? So how do you remember?
I told you what was.
You didn't threaten nobody. See, here's the thing. And you can't go around threatening people and then when a person responds to your threats. Because
who did I threaten? And I want to know that. You say you want to put who did I threaten? You know landlord. He stopped his door, his granddaughter to stop me in my apartment. But he didn't know anything in how he stopped me.
That's not what you told me. That's not what you told me.
Won't you put your everything that you're recording, put it out there? Because I never told you what I was.
Miss Wells, you know that's not what you told me.
At least I'm not gonna argue with you.
That's what you told me. But what you thought was because I'm the president of the NAACP that I was gonna sit here and let you just bash me and the organization. When you know good and darn well that I helped you to the best of my ability. And I tell you, like I tell everybody else, and I tell it to anybody else, I am not Olivia Pope. When I give you advice and you don't follow it, I'm not going to do the work for you. Yeah. And everybody knows I say I'll go 40% of the way. You're going to do 60% of the way. I'm not going anywhere for you. I'll go with you.
You do.
No, I asked you to go to the meet with the district attorney, we never went. We never made it.
Hayeswell wouldn't meet with you.
He wouldn't meet with you.
He wouldn't meet with you.
Cause I never talked to him, made a meet with him.
I met with Hayeswell. Didn't I just tell y'all? See, that's how I know you heard my name and you jumped in. I just met with Hayeswell earlier this week. So you're a liar. He didn't want to meet with you.
But I've never made an appointment to meet with him. That's what I'm telling you. I never talked to him.
So then, so you wanted me to make
I was going up there to talk to. I have a advocate of
woman back.
Lord, you just stop talking about how
like I
said, I do everything, and like I said,
so how was you going to get if you weren't going to make an appointment?
I couldn't make an appointment. That's why I needed you.
You couldn't call up there and make an appointment with him?
Yes, but every time they said because I have a victim's advocate. Because I have a victim's advocate, and they kept blocking me. They kept telling me I had to talk to her.
They kept blocking you?
They kept saying I had to talk to her. Because I have a victim's advocate, and I have
so
a
they told you couldn't come to the courthouse?
No, I met with her. I've been up there and I met with them. And my district attorney just
you met with Hayeswell?
No, not without an appointment. Do they meet with anybody without an appointment?
Child, he's a district attorney. But anywho.
So you can just walk in his office.
You can't call and make an appointment.
Did I tell you I tried?
No.
How many times you tried that? I said,
I'm got to pick the phone up and make an appointment.
I did.
Once again, I think that we kind of getting into some kind of personal stuff.
Mess, that's our problem right there. Because instead of focusing on one issue, you got a person that try to deflect and try to call people out on BS when it's really their BS. And they get mad because you don't want to go along with it.
I think that's an issue that needs to be handled off the air, though.
When your dad went there and started cussing, I was through. I was through.
Yeah. That was the whole thing. And just trying to figure out what the purpose of the call was.
Yeah,
and the reason I asked, what was the purpose of the call.
Call me with your dad in the background.
My dad lived in Mississippi. My dad is in Mississippi because that's how I met your dad. My dad has never lived here with me. Well, I think I have no family.
You said
it's hard. It's hard.
Okay, guys.
That's why I asked what the purpose of the call was for, because it seems like there's some personal animosity and some personal issues going on. That you said that it was because what you heard what was said about the leaders. Well, people have their right to voice their opinions about the leaders. And when you started off the conversation, you sounded a little hostile. You may not feel that way, but if you go back and listen, then you did. But it's like this whole thing is turned into like personal. It sounds like personal. It sounds like so personal. So you say you do admit that you started off hostile.
Yes,
so
and I apologize. And I can apologize for that if I start off hostile.
Okay, listen, because what I don't want to do is like the argument has gone on long enough, and I don't want to seem like not helping. I'm trying to help the argument. So I think when you called in to voice your opinion about that, I think some of the animosity came out that you had on a personal level, and I think you maybe it was the wrong time to call. Because Lisa does have a number. If you wanted to have that conversation, she does have a number.
She stopped answering my phone calls.
She was told you have not called my phone because you were told by the state NAACP not to contact me again.
Who told me that? I don't know who talked to you. Who they talked, but I want to put
Okay. But I think but I think this conversation though is you know what, we was having a good conversation about what happened with the young men and the young women, and we got one caller. He came. Hold on. We had one caller who came in and he starts to start talking about who we're talking about. See, a lot of times this is what I'm talking about. If you don't call in regularly, and not you, Miss Hart, because I know that you do this and you do call in, so I'm not saying that, but it kind of to me got kind of kicked the wrong way when he called in from waking up, hearing something. So you cannot be bothered by when you hear something about a friend of yours or somebody you heard work with. Because when he did that, it kind of went left. Then Miss Hardy called in, and then like she just admitted to, I appreciate her for admitting that she called in with some hostility. But this doesn't need to be the place. And if you cannot, if you have been told not to call Lisa, then it's best not to put this stuff on air. So I'm just
politely
asking.
I'll contact her. If I,
So I'm
you know,
just
if I was, I would have, but since not to, I haven't contacted her when she started asking my phone, but I
okay, but what? Okay. But what I'm saying right now is like on Daryl's show. I don't think this needs to be discussed on air because if something was to come up or whatever, this is evidence or proof of whatever's been said on air, and I don't think anybody wants whatever they've been saying here to be used against them in any way. You may not think that it can be, but I'm not just saying it's for you. I'm just saying this is not the place for the conversation. Like we've gotten totally off of the issue. Like you said in the comments, we have different issues, and I think we had spoken about this earlier. And I'm just hoping that like right now I'm not even talking about your situation because I think that needs to be. I don't think we need to talk about that anymore. But one time we do have bigger issues. But when as soon as and Ms. John was addressing those issues, and she was talking about the pastor. So she's not the only one that feels that way. So when you called in, you did have like you said, it was some personal stuff going on. So that wasn't the time to call. Because this is what she said is not a lie. A lot of the people who should be speaking up they're not. So when the other young man called in saying, well, he knows this person, it doesn't matter to us. That's what we're trying to get away from this popularity contest or believing it ain't so because you know this person or that person. So that's when it kind of went off. And then I think, and then I see you in the comments because I put the number out there. And the reason I'm saying something now is because if I had known, we don't try to deny anybody their right to say anything. Like Gary reads the thing at the beginning, and these people comments or their opinions. We don't try to deny that. But had I known it was going to be that way, I wouldn't have put the number there because it's not about personal conflict right now. It's supposed to be about these issues where our children are being under attack verbally, and the potential is there to be more serious. So whatever issues you have with Ms. Young, I don't think they need to be discussed here.
yes, ma'am, you are exactly right.
And to say, and I'm gonna be honest, yes, Lisa is my friend. I love her dearly. But I know that you got some stuff going on that I can see. I can take myself out of that situation and just see none of this needs to be really being said. Because see, y'all have gone from one area to something else that's going on, and then you know what I'm saying? We kind of going back into some other things. So if you're saying somebody has taken up your cause and they're trying to help you, I don't think you want this to be on the air.
Yeah, we don't want to get personal. It's not nothing about this program is personal against anybody. It's called TTown 411. We're trying to help in our community. We're trying to be helpful to our community and the comments that were expressed were her opinions and a lot of people share those same opinions. Perhaps maybe you don't. That's I mean that's your opinion. That's you have that right to have that opinion. Um, but what we don't want to have on here is just like I think y'all been going at about 20 minutes now. And it kind of the whole entire topic. I think anybody who's listening probably forgot what it was about.
That's why I finally just said something. I've been trying to say something. I didn't want to yell. I didn't want it to be three people on here yelling. But I had to kind of say something loud enough to just ask you. And when I ask you that, I mean no harm, but that's just true what I felt. I felt like it was personal. And you, like you said, you did admit that. So I give you credit for admitting that because a lot of times we don't dialogue and admit things. So I'll just say from this point on, we don't even have to talk about it anymore. Like we can just go on with the show or however Daryl's going to handle the show. But I just didn't want y'all, to be going back and forth, and then it was gonna come a point of exhaustion, and then it just was gonna end terribly, like end worse than now.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah, it was.
Hey, there.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just listening because I think it was a good idea that Veronica was able to bring this to a conclusion, and that sometimes you have to just listen. Somebody has to be
Because I
listening.
felt like it had to happen. I felt like some of it had to happen. Like that's what I told Q. I said no. She kind of brought it on here, so some of it had to happen. But we have to also know when to stop. Like all our parents taught us, it's enough of anything. So it kind of had, it had to stop because you got people accusing folks of being divisive in town, and they're not going to side with either of the women arguing. They're going to say, see, they can't even get along themselves. And that's okay when
And
we can get
that's
along
the
ourselves.
reason why you always gotta make the issue not about you, but about what's better for the greater cause. Because now they're gonna take that soundbite and use it to say, just like what you said, they can't even get along amongst themselves.
So they're gonna say they're divisive in the community and they're divisive among themselves. So I just think, I think we just need to just go, just Miss Hart, I mean Miss Vicky, if you want to stay on and you have something to say about the incident, then we open to the hearing.
Yeah.
Because there was an incident. There's been 2 incidents now within a week.
See, I didn't know about the second one. I knew about the first one.
Yeah.
The second one happened today, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. So it's been, the other one was what, Friday? And so now this one today, was the other one Friday?
It was Thursday.
Thursday?
Yep.
Okay, so now I said it was within a week.
It was exposed on Thursday.
Okay. So we've in a week's time we've learned of 2 incidents where someone of a different race has threatened our kids, but the threat seems to not be taken seriously. So that's why I feel like somebody needs to be more vocal. There are members of the community that need to be more vocal. And it doesn't have to just be leaders. It can be, it's like you're saying, with the numbers. It needs to be people, it needs to be parents, it needs to be aunties, it needs to be uncles, it needs to be teachers. It needs to be anybody in this community. And it needs to be black, it needs to be white. Because I know that there are some white sisters and brothers out here who are totally against it. It needs to be a collective.
Yes.
So, that said, I hate that whatever it is you're going through, I hate that all of us have been in a storm, God forbid, there's a storm. But like right now, our community is in a storm where you have people where this young man probably figured, oh, well, hey, he ain't danger to them. I'm a white and They're not gonna do anything to me. We don't know what they're thinking, and it's just like they don't know that they were playing. But you have to take all threats seriously because they say, see something, hear something, report something. But it's been reported, and they're taking it lightly. So I just say, everybody, be as safe as you can, and even though it seems discouraging, continue to say something if you hear or see something. Because then, as a collective, our part will have been done.
In this situation, Veronica, I'm making reference to the caller making a threat toward the school. Just like we just said, the gentleman said the man that just killed a deputy shouldn't have been out of prison in the first place. But at the same time, we got to look at this comment that this guy saying that he want to shoot people at the school. Now they've investigated and found it to be what's the word they use?
A non-credible threat.
Non-credible threat. So who will be held responsible if tomorrow or next week this young man goes out and does do something? Because you treated this as a non-credible threat. The liability now falls back on whoever made that statement that this is non-liable. I mean, I don't know if it was the school system or was it the sheriff department or whoever. But for him to make a statement of that nature, I think it's need to be looked into. That's a red flag, as I would say, if any. That's a red flag.
It absolutely is. Because that's how all the other mass shootings got started. They had some sort of manifesto that they told somebody that that's what they were going to do, and in those cases, no one said anything.
Mm-hmm.
And people have been arrested in the past for having information and knowing that somebody had made a threat, and they carried out that threat, and they did not inform somebody that that person had made a threat.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just add what you're saying, as far as the ministers and organizations that are not going to speak up. I think I said this many times. Is this town came to a point where you really have to just be concerned about your own. If you're going to do something, do it, put it together, and move with it, because you have to have an attitude of, if it's to be, then it's up to me. And what I mean by that, if you're going to try to put something together, you can't count on other people to say, "Hey, I'm 100%." You're not going to get 100% behind you, even if you're right. If you say, "Hey, the Bible quoted and said uh, uh, it's 7 days in a week," you're gonna get some to say, "No, that ain't true. It's 6 days." So sometimes you just have to go along and do what you're gonna do, regardless if it's I always say preachers, teachers, police, firemen, who are we all human. We all human, and we ain't gonna come to. I haven't seen where we can come to the same accord on a lot of things.
Yeah. My thing is, when we don't come on, when we all not on the exact same page, why can't we be in the same book? You know, because a book comes together as a collective. So somebody may be chapter one, somebody who you may not even agree. Just like we read books all the time. Sometimes get lost in the midst of reading them. But it comes to a conclusion, and hopefully the conclusion is that something that's been progressive, something has worked out, something has been made better. So we don't even always have to agree, because we are human and we are different. We are personality. You got people who may be just alike in the way they think, but they're going to disagree at some point. Mm-hmm. But if you keep the goal at hand, some people will get mad and won't even participate when all they can do is just say, "Well, okay, well, y'all gonna do that way. Tell me something else that I can do." Because I don't, I may be like, I'm just totally against doing that, but I'll be this part of the show. Just continue to do work. Continue to do work. Everybody is not a speaker. You got some people that are organizers. You got some people that are great speakers, and you got some people that are great doers. Mm-hmm. So everybody is gonna have a different talent that they can lend to a greater cause. Everybody is not. If I know that I'm not a good organizer, then I'm not gonna volunteer. Well, I organize this and that. I'm gonna say, "Well, Veronica, you better at organizing. You do that, and then just let me know where I need to show up and what I need to do." Right, right. Right. And I think when it comes to dealing with our youth, which that really wasn't the topic today, but it was kind of open. So, so I'll even say, when it comes to dealing with our youth, when it comes to dealing with this situation, people need to be on one accord with this. If somebody, like Lisa says, somebody needs to be having some meetings in this city, in the city of Northport, in this county, addressing what has happened. Okay, the numbers at DCH went up. The Alabama Department of Health put Alabama back in Tuscaloosa County back in the high. Well, you got threats going up. There needs to be some coming together of minds, and not just, we had a meeting at the whatever behind closed doors. It needs to be open to the public. And people need to come together, and they need to present them. They need to present themselves as one. And like Lisa said, whoever can speak, whoever can get their notes together, let that person be the one to get their notes together. Just because person can speak don't really mean they can put notes together. Everybody has their part to play.
Yeah, that closed door stuff is getting real, real old. As always, you find out later on, but we had a meeting with all the city leaders. And most folks are like, "Well, who the city leaders?" You don't even know who all attended and who didn't attend and what was said, and because it was a closed meeting, and we can't talk about what we talked about in there, but we got some things playing. And
but then even if they say it's public record, they gonna charge the public and take forever a day to give them the records. Because only so much it takes, what I'm saying, they charge the stuff for folks for public records. And you know that because we've had to pay money. Everybody has had to chip in and pay money so that we can get copies of the records. And y'all be surprised at what some of that stuff say.
So, it's like it's gonna have to be everybody lending themselves to a cause. It can't be one or two people addressing it and everybody else just sits silent. You know, and what's so ugly is if I were to call a rally, more white people would show up to support it than black. We don't see it. And you will have black people in positions of authority saying that it's divisive. Like you're saying, being the mouth for other folks.
What's the answer for conflict resolution? I mean, as far as African American, that's going to be a question altogether. I mean, we have people that we disagree with, and we disagree with some of the decisions or answers or whatever. But I just came to the conclusion that we ain't gonna never be all on the same page in the same book, because some things are just nature. I just think it's just nature.
Yeah.
That's
just like a mate. That's just like a mate or a husband or a wife. Mm-hmm. When people say that it's just like this term here, I got into it with somebody about something little. But and then she was like, well, we could just agree to disagree. We've obviously already done that. When we could not make headway, we basically agreed to disagree. So why continue to argue when we already know that you think this way, I think this way? So why not say, well, let's move past this to see what else we can do? Because that's not working with us.
Right. Well, I'm glad you, Veronica, you handled two young ladies, grown women. You handled that situation very good.
I like young ladies.
Of course. Y'all, hey, I respect the fact that, y'all are young. I ain't saying I'm old either now.
I don't like. Veronica did a very good job, but she blamed me for everything.
Well, no, but see, I didn't. No, it's not. It had to happen though. So I don't blame you, because you had nothing to do with what the discussion was. But I think, like a lot, oftentimes we sit on here, our conversations get taken left, and that's okay. That's okay. But in this particular one, Lisa was right with what she was saying, and it doesn't matter who you know. We know for a fact, everybody on this line, everybody in this chat, that there are some members of this community, no matter how much I love them or like them, they have the position. They can say, well, y'all can do it. Well, y'all have certain titles. Y'all in certain positions. And just because they went to the school, good, cool. But we're talking about this situation today where you have people, yeah, they need love. Apparently, they somebody, maybe, they need to find any kind of love. But apparently, they feel love. Got love enough to get out and get them charges. So we're saying that we're talking about our community was at threat, not the community association, the black community. And then there's been another threat. It should have stayed on that. Once it got on that, it should have stayed on that. Not to say, like you said, you called in because it was kind of like open count. That's fine. But when you called in, and then like you said yourself, just like Miss Vicky was, we have to own our own. You said yourself, you got a text, not into reference to what was going on, but you got a text. You was kind of get back up, jumping into something that you heard, and you didn't really fully hear everything.
Oh no! I know. I was listening when I said I jumped up. I was listening for a while before I got home, but I was on way before all of this went on anyway. I was on. Okay. Girl had a good conversation. I was on that conversation, but when you said, that's what I'm saying. But when you said, no. What I'm saying is there are some people who just you may listen, but when it comes to certain conversations, some people don't feel the need to call in. So then, and sometimes that's when things kind of go left, or it seems kind of like it's being deflected. That's like discouraging people to call. No, it's just if you're gonna call, just like you said, it's an open panel, so you want to talk about whatever. But when we started back on that particular issue, it's almost like the deflection came because you started talking about what we have to do for. We know that's an art. We have this discussion every week about what we have to do for ours. But right now,
We have a crisis right now with people threatening kids and NIGGERs.
Okay, I got
And it
it.
doesn't matter who you're friends with and whatever else they do. What are they going to do about this?
I get what you're saying about that subject. That subject. Well, I wish that would have been the total subject. We would just stayed on it. But my thing is, and girl, no, I'm not lying with you. We go on Facebook right now. You have teenagers with guns threatening each other. But
see, we're not going to deflect though from this situation. We're talking about this particular crisis. See, that's what we're saying when you deflect. We're not talking about, we know what we got with our community right now. We talk about this every week. We're talking, when the conversation moved to these two people who these were racially motivated threats. That's what we're talking about with these two situations. We don't need somebody to come and say, well, we gotta do this. But it's like, okay, we've done a whole 180 from what we were talking about. We talking about our folks. There's always gonna be a conversation. There's always gonna be dialogue that we need. We know that.
And you know what, Veronica? Another thing is most crimes, when you look at crimes by race, most crime victims are perpetrated by somebody of the same race. So don't think just because it's not being publicized that other races are not having white on white crime, Asian on Asian crime, or
Hispanic on Hispanic.
Hispanic on Hispanic. So we blacks are just better at calling the police and getting them involved. When other people be like, or other races, you got the Hispanics that are not very trusting of the police. Whites are less likely to call the police if something happening in their neighborhood or or with them. So, but blacks, we tend to call the police more than other people.
Exactly. And then what I'm trying to get him to understand is that it's just like, even read the comments. Like you said, stay on topic. When we get to a particular topic, don't start getting back on our babies. We know the help that our babies need, and we're not gonna ever stop talking about that. But when it got on to these two threats made within a week, saying that they would target the black community, that's what we needed to stay on. It was an open panel, but we had talked about, you came and we discussed what you were talking about. But when we got back onto that, you come back in, it needed to stay where it was at. Because we really need to know, people are in this chat, people are in Tuscaloosa want to know what's going to happen. We can't start talking about, well, it was different, what was going to happen. They made threats, and those are threats that you, me, Lisa, Daryl, Mike, we cannot make those threats and get the charges that those people got. We cannot make those threats and get a good talking to. Unless we're the children of Clarence Thomas, and we ain't the children of Clarence Thomas. Hell, his kids probably couldn't make those threats. But he's the only one that don't understand it. So what I'm saying is that sometimes there's an element of deflection, and it happens. We do it all the time. We go from A to Z on here. But I'm saying this is this right here to us, this is an immediate issue. We don't need to, just because you hear something said that you don't like, and you know your friend did this and did that, cool, fine, whatever. But we're talking about what are they going to say about this? What are they going to say about this? Who's talking about this? It should be, there are people in this town with titles. Lisa had to go talk to Hayes. What about the council people? What about the church people? What about some of the other police officers? We all have kids in school. It comes a time where it needs to be safety across the board, fairness across the board. And that's what I always preach every time. You're going to give them this, give them that. You're going to give us this, give them that. This unfairness and unjust justice system, it'll never stop, but it needs to be made better. We were talking about that, and that's what we want to talk about. We didn't want to hear, oh, well, because it kind of take it back on us. We got our problems, but they got some too, apparently. And then they're trying to take theirs out on people of a different race. That is what we were talking about. It's like you said, stay on topic. Sometimes we have to make sure we stay on topic. Because when we do that on here, a lot of times we'll say, Darryl will say, well, let's get back to this. Or Michael say, well, let's get this out. We bring it back. We have to bring it back. And that's what we was trying to do, bring it back. Because this is critical. hear something that's said by somebody you like, sometimes you just gotta hear it. Because if they're not standing on what they should be standing on at that particular time, they're not. They just not. No matter what they did at the school, no matter what they did at the swamp meet, no matter what they did over there at the church last two. I mean, if we talking about these two incidents and the lack of the lack of we're not hearing anything. The lack of addressing it by those members in the community. And I'm not just gonna say Tuscaloosa City, because like I said, he was in Norfolk. What did the members of Tuscaloosa North, the North City of Norfolk, what did that council people say? You know, so we're talking about this right here. And here's the problem. If they don't take it as a credible threat, what we're gonna do is see more of these, more acts like this, because it's a joke. And that could be part of the reason he did it. But at the same time, while they joking, you got blacks that are walking around terrorizing. I had a lady call and ask me, did I think it was safe for her to go to Walmart? Then y'all gotta remember, we just had an incident where we had a person that drove to a black area of town and went in the grocery store and just started shooting people. So who's to say that people are not walking around terrorized, feeling terrorized? So if anything else, you know, we need to feel safe that the people that have been placed in elected positions are gonna protect us. Because we see on the news daily us being the victim. And we tired of it in this town. What about whatever happened to the man that's moved over there and it's a threat? These women feel a threat to live on the west side of town where they were born, probably raised. Most of them I know was raised, probably born and raised. What happened with that situation? Why is it when threats are aimed and targeted towards black people or potential threats toward black people in the city, it's not a big deal? Well, he did it this way, and everybody was still trying to figure out how that man got over there. Exactly. So another situation. He go to trial January the 8th. See, another situation where he's allowed to be in our community. We're talking about right now, I'm just going to say this racist crap that's going on. We always, the first thing we do, that's one of our biggest fallbacks, talking about, well, we got to hold ourselves accountable. Yes, we do. We know this. We preach this all the time. But right now, what about that threat? Then these young ladies. Then this young man. Negate the other. Exactly. We're gonna have to just learn that there are issues in this community. Yeah, we cannot afford to have the deflection from the issue at the moment. We know we have ongoing issues, but some take precedent over the others. Exactly, and we can't multitask.
We actually have too many topics to have in one particular night anyway.
Y'all the one decided to have open discussion.
I was just gonna say that you know, it's after 11 o'clock as of right now. And I think
shit, I can't believe I'm woke. No, at least because you know it's something. At least I woke after 11 o'clock. But Ashley might to me and Daryl, I don't know. But I just still think this was better to have this conversation than not, because sometimes you don't know what seeds you plant in somebody who's listening. Mm-hmm. Even in spite of the argument, you still don't know what seeds you plant in people who are listening. We don't know what seed was planted in a young person. Exactly. And we always looking for young people that can get into leadership positions. Because, you know, I ain't gonna say how old I am, but I sure appreciate somebody calling me young lady. But you know, you want to have somebody to shadow you and to be going through it, and so when you hand it off, there's a continuity. Mm-hmm. Nobody has to learn it all over again or have to reinvent the wheel.
I'm just gonna give you the ham and you just take the wheel and keep rolling. But we're gonna have to learn that we gotta unify our efforts. You know, you can't convince people how powerful it is to show up in numbers and have one voice. Everybody's saying the same thing. This is what we're gonna discuss. Because let me tell you, Veronica, the lesson in what you're saying is, when you do get in front of people, they will try to deflect you and bring up other issues and say, "What about this?"
Right. And I hate that.
And you got to be ready to say, "Look, if you want to make an appointment and talk about that, we can talk about that later."
Exactly.
Right now, this is what we're addressing.
Because the next thing you know, what you went there to address will be left right where it's at. And then whatever else they deflected to, that's gonna be where it's at too. And you got no answer to what you went for.
And you will walk out of the room like, "Nah, I didn't even get an answer."
Exactly. And the people who employ those tactics, believe me, they know them. They know them, but sometimes we do them to ourselves. And sometimes people who they sit back and watch us do it, okay, let them do whatever for us. Like they're divisive. They're divisive to the community.
That part right there.
Let them sit back and do this for us. And then when they do, somebody does come, they are looking at you like they really don't know what you're talking about.
And then I think sometimes people are just sent to be that way.
Yeah.
But as things unfold, we're gonna keep an eye on it. We're gonna keep drawing attention to it. It's been picked up by Young Turks, like I said. It's been picked up by YouTuber. It's been picked up by Atlanta, uh, Atlanta Black. What is it?
I saw it in Atlanta Journal
Atlanta Black Star. I think
It's Atlanta Black Star. And see, and as people who's supposed to run the city, officials, do you want this? Do you want that? Do you want your city just out there like that? If you don't, even if you don't listen to your citizens, you're not going to listen to these people across the world.
Well, when they hit national news, when they make national news and they discussing it, then people want to come out and act all new. But what they won't, they won't
the
be
UA
like they didn't know.
I.e., during the pandemic and the UA incident.
Exactly.
It takes national people to get involved, and that's why.
Over 90,000 people have viewed it on Young Turks. Over 90,000. Yeah.
And probably by now more than that, because people are going to share it.
And I heard that you got people calling, complaining that the young ladies were actually arrested.
Oh, no surprise. No surprise. And then they sitting up there looking like they so poor pitiful. Why are you poor pitiful? You 20 years old. You knew what you was doing. You laughed. You were laughing when you did.
Hold up. We complaining about what she was charged with because we know it's a joke. And we know that she can go and she'll probably end up with what she was charged with. She can do community service and have it thrown out. But you got people calling in and are upset that they were arrested. That they
How
were
dare you?
even arrested.
How dare you?
Okay,
before you know it, they're gonna holler off to be able to say these NIGGDRs like they can get. Y'all, they got y'all in these NIGGDRs get y'all mixed up. That's what they're gonna holler off and say. You know how they saying Kurt Franklin gonna holler off and cuss one day? Well, it's getting to the point where they saying it anyway. That's why it was like, and I say seeds, I also have planting seeds. Our young people, you just don't know. When we kept telling you, no, you don't go over there with them talking about my. What did the guy say in time? Oh, it was in a rap song. What if it was in a rap song? What if it was? Which it wasn't. But what if it was? See, our people become too complacent. When you don't remember history, it's bound to repeat itself. I say the 80s and 90s, black people just got complacent. Not that these things been going on, but now they're going on. They will sit there and tell you to your face that I'm going to discriminate against you because your credit is 800. No, I'm not going to give you a car. I'm going to give Bobby over here that brand new Lexus out there because his credit is a 320. And what are you going to do about it? That's to the point where they're about to start talking to you like that.
And it's sad because you see it and you're trying to tell people that we're moving backwards. That you're trying to tell people, but it's like nobody's gonna listen until we're entrenched.
Well, ladies, y'all done stayed up way past y'all time, and I done woke up again. We're gonna talk. We're gonna take it up on Tuesday, and we'll see what happens from there. We do have a few guests gonna be on with us next week. If you're not doing anything, H&H Farm will be having a fireworks rhythm and boom. They have live entertainment as well as fireworks show at the end of the evening. If you're not doing anything on Friday, and there again, I didn't see anything saying that there was a charge. I do see that it is a event for the family. It is kid friendly, as they put it, and the gates open at 7 p.m. So I don't see anything about a charge. So if you're not doing anything, come out for an evening of entertainment as well as a fireworks show at H&A Farm here in Tuscaloosa, in Foster, Alabama. And
what time again, Darren?
the gate's gonna open at 7, so I imagine the show's gonna the artist's gonna go on about 8 o'clock. Yeah, starts at 8. And it says kid friendly. Policy is free. Okay, so it is free. So free artists. They got a couple of new artists, and those that know Dorcas, she'll be performing, as well as TK Perry, comedian TK Perry, and DJ MT will be playing music, and there is a fireworks show, and this is a free event. Okay, so they say it is kid friendly, and security will be there. So y'all
free and kid friendly. Just take you off then.
Yep, that's it. Now, I'm not sure about food or anything like that, but it's a kid friendly. So we'll see you all if you make it tomorrow at the H&H Farm. If not, y'all have a very safe and happy 4th of July, and don't eat too much. Don't get your blood pressure up too much, and stay out. Well, it's supposed to rain, so some days it's supposed to rain. But anyway, y'all have a safe and happy weekend. Happy 4th of July on Monday. Enjoy your days off. And we'll take it up on Tuesday. We do have a guest on Tuesday for about 15-20 minutes talking about an upcoming play that's going to take place. So, other than that, we'll talk.
Okay.
We'll talk then. Y'all have a great night.
Okay, guys. Y'all have a good night.
All right.
Hello? Hey, Rick. I had to call you to tell you that the food that you brought to the party last night was wonderful. It made me think about my grandmother's cooking. Where did you get that food, brother? I went down to Thomas Rib Shack to pick up the ribs, but when I got there, I seen that they had more than just ribs. I seen baked chicken, fried chicken, corn muffins, vegetables, apple pie, peach pie. And I looked around and I seen a sign that told me that they got chitlins and oxtails on Sunday. All I can tell you, go down to 2931 15th Street or just give them a call like I did at area code 205-759-5010. Thomas Red Shack, Tuscaloosa, Alabama.